Chapter 75, Tricky Methods. Xinhuan's pretty face was filled with anger, and Su Rou was also filled with anger after hearing what Xinhuan said. How dare this heartless bastard deceive us like this? You even prepared such a big table of delicious food, waiting for him to come back. Su Rou tightly grasped the phone with both hands, as if the phone was summer. I will make him pay when he comes back. I will punish him by making him continue to sleep on the sofa tonight. Su Rou's character is so bold in love and hate. The resentment on Xinhuan's face quickly subsided. She put herself in Guya's shoes and thought that the reason why she sent this message to her must be with bad intentions. Guya's purpose was very clear, which was to make her angry, to create a gap between her and Xiatian, and even to cause a dispute and quarrel with Xiatian and distrust each other. What would be the result? The two of them and Xiatian would drift apart, and in the end, they would probably end up in divorce because of all kinds of suspicion and distrust. Xinhuan and Guya have been rivals for more than 20 years, and they are too familiar with each other. To put it bluntly, as long as the other party lifts his buttocks to poop or pee, the other party can clearly tell. Humph, don't be angry, don't be angry. I must not be fooled, I must not fall into the other party's trap. Thinking of this, Xinhuan did not immediately calm Su Rou down. Instead, after thinking for a while, she sent a message back to Guya. After all, today is the day you two get your marriage certificate with him, so it's only right that he takes the time to go over and have dinner with you. Otherwise, he would be immature. I often teach him to be a responsible man, and Xiatian does a good job in this regard. In addition, he always knows to come back home before I ask him to, which is also a manifestation of his family responsibility. Xinhuan sent her reply message, and there was no movement on the green bubble for a long time. She didn't know whether Guya fell asleep or was so angry after seeing her message that she didn't want to reply. After Xinhuan put down her phone, she spoke to comfort Su Rou. You've just fallen into someone else's trap. The more we have a bad relationship with Xiatian, the happier she will be. Guess why she was so kind to send us news of Xiatian's whereabouts? Su Rou was also very smart. The reason why she fell into Guya's trap at the beginning was because she was not familiar with Guya. After Xinhuan's reminder, she immediately realized that the other party had ulterior motives. Xinhuan explained the interests involved clearly in just a few words, and Su Rou's emotions were immediately calmed down. Then what should we do? Although we know that the woman surnamed Gu has bad intentions and is trying to sow discord, it is also true that Xiatian deceived us. If we don't teach him a lesson, I will be upset and my mind will not be clear. Although Su Rou saw through the matter, she was still upset and indignant that Xiatian had deceived the two of them. Xiao Rou, now we must understand and accept one thing, that is, Xiatian has more than 2 wives, he now has 4 legal wives including us. Xinhuan said this to Su Rou. In fact, it was also a disguised way of comforting herself. The other party is also Xiatian's legal wife, and has the same power and status as us. It is reasonable and legal for Xiatian to go there. The two of us must calm down and not have an unbalanced mentality because of this. But just when Xinhuan was explaining these things to Su Rou, ding dong, she received another message on her green bubble. Guya, Xiatian is really strong. He just bullied us for nearly 2 hours. Oh, I won't say anymore. I'm so sleepy and tired that I don't even want to take a shower. I feel like I'm falling apart. I'm going to sleep first. Remember to let my husband take a shower before you go to bed. Take a deep breath. Don't be angry, don't be angry. This was all Guya's trick. Her purpose was to make me angry with Xiatian, so that I could push Xiatian into her arms. I couldn't be fooled, but... Phew! The more I think about it, the angrier I get. Xiatian, that bastard, got drunk and messed with me last night, but I tolerated it and didn't say anything. But today... Ha! Take a deep breath, take a deep breath. Su Rou looked at Xinhuan, who was trying to comfort her. After reading a green bubble message, her face suddenly turned ashen and she exuded a cold aura. We can't let this brat off easily, but we have to be careful about the methods. If a person is already full with a bowl of noodles, but is asked to eat a second bowl of noodles of the same amount, is it a reward or a punishment for him? Xinhuan's face had regained its bright smile, but it looked a little creepy. Su Rou thought about that scene and felt a little uncomfortable for Xiatian. Then she was overjoyed. It had to be Wanner. She could come up with such a unique way to punish people without making any noise. She thought that she was too kind. She had to rely on Wanner in this aspect. Su Rou became even more curious. What kind of news did the Imperial Capital University send to Shenwan to make the usually gentle and virtuous Wanner so angry? She even came up with such a tricky way to punish Xiatian. What outrageous thing did that little bastard do again? Making you even angrier than before? Su Ro couldn't help her curiosity. Besides, the two of them were now good sisters in a true offensive and defensive alliance, so there was nothing to be secretive about. Look for yourself. Shenwan handed the phone directly to Su Ro and asked her to read the message sent by Guya. What? This bastard, all men are really bad, they are all animals who think with their lower body. Su Ro understood immediately after reading the message. She was so angry that her breasts hurt, and she cursed Xiatian with gritted teeth. When that little bastard comes back later, let's not talk about these things and pretend that he has kept us in the dark. But I worked so hard to prepare a big table of food for such a long time, he can't leave any for me. Shenwan's eyes were cold, and she continued, and doesn't he like to do that kind of thing? You just dealt with the two women from Imperial Capital University. I want to see how much energy you have all day long. I have decided that I will sleep with him tonight. Anyway, this is a matter of time between husband and wife. I can't let Guya continue to provoke me with this matter. Shenwan gritted her teeth. She had already decided to find an opportunity to give herself to Xiatian recently. However, after being provoked by Guya again about this matter, Shenwan decided that today is the day to do it. Su Ro was stunned, Wanner was angry, she was willing to sacrifice herself to punish Xiatian. You have to know that men are not as good as women when doing that kind of thing. There is an old saying that there are only cows that die of exhaustion, but no fields that are plowed to death. Under normal circumstances, two women can kill a man. And now Shenwan is willing to make herself the third woman to deal with Xiatian. Just thinking about it is exciting. Then I'll come along. How could Su Ro be absent from such an exciting event? Chapter 76. I'm full. Why did you come back just now? You must be hungry. Shenwan's words revealed deep concern. Of course, I've already told Xiaotian that your wife will prepare a sumptuous meal in the evening. He will definitely rush back as soon as he's done with his work, ready to taste the loving meal you prepared for him, right, Xiaotian? Am I right? Su Ro said cunningly, as if she was speaking for Xiatian. Shenwan sniffed and found a faint smell of alcohol on Xiatian. This was the wine she, Guya, and Lu Xian drank together during dinner. Although the alcohol had almost evaporated by now due to the intense exercise and the shower, she could still smell a faint smell of alcohol. However, Shenwan did not point it out. She knew it but did not say it out loud. So just pretend that she did not find out. Yes, of course. Xiatian thought about it and accepted it. Su Ro really had greeted him in the afternoon, and he had agreed to wait for him to come back before eating. Are you stupid? It's so late and you don't even know to have a bite to eat? Then go wash your hands and eat quickly. Don't starve. Shenwan urged Xiatian to wash his hands quickly. As soon as Xiatian entered the room, the first thing he saw was the smiling faces of Shenwan and Su Ro. They were very attentive to Xiatian and asked him about his well-being, which made Xiatian feel a little guilty and remorseful for a moment. I went to the Imperial Capital University for a lot of fun and delicious food, but my two wives were busy at home preparing delicious food for me when I came back. At this moment, Xiatian felt like a scumbag and felt guilty. Coming to the dining table and looking at the large table full of delicious food prepared by Shenwan, Xia felt even more guilty. He had to turn his guilt into motivation to swallow the food. This way, Sister Wanner should be happier, right? Sure enough, seeing Xiatian eating the food she cooked with big mouthfuls, the smile on Shenwan's face became even brighter. Xiatian ate even more vigorously. But after a while, he couldn't eat anymore. After all, he had eaten a lot tonight at Imperial Capital University. Guya's cooking skills were very good, and Guya and Lu Xian kept picking up food for him, so he had eaten a lot tonight. Although I had done some intense exercise there and consumed a lot of energy, how long had it been? The food I had eaten in the evening hadn't been fully digested yet. So in the summer, we quickly changed from eating big mouthfuls to chewing slowly. What's wrong? Is the food I cooked not to your liking, or do you just not like these dishes? Shenwan asked suddenly as she looked at Xiatian chewing slowly. No. Sister Wanner, the food you cook tastes very good, and they're all what I like. It's just that I suddenly remembered that I should eat slowly at night and not eat too full, otherwise it's bad for my health. Xiatian had a flash of inspiration in his mind, and he finally thought of a good excuse. As a grown man, do you want to learn how to maintain your health from middle-aged people? Or do you want to learn how to lose weight from us women? Others have to have a midnight snack at night. As a grown man, you are in the period of growing up. When you are hungry, you should eat well and fill your stomach. Come and try the pork ribs made by Warner. I think it tastes super delicious. Su-ro immediately refuted Xiaotian and put several pieces of pork ribs in Xiaotian's bowl. I have carefully prepared this dish of sea cucumber and abalone. Xiaotian, please try it. Xinhuan also scooped a large spoonful for Xiaotian. And this mushu pork is not bad either. Su-ro picked up another piece of food for Xiaotian with chopsticks. Eating more vegetables is nutritious. Xinhuan picked up a piece of green vegetables for Xiaotian with chopsticks. Young people need to eat more meat. Look how thin he is. Su-ro picked up another large piece of meat for Xiaotian with her chopsticks. That's enough. I'll add more after I finish eating. Xiaotian wanted to cry but had no tears. Looking at the big bowl full of food, he felt for the first time that eating was such a painful thing. Under the eager gazes of Xinhuan and Su-ro, Xiaotian felt like crying but had no tears. He stuffed the food in the bowl into his mouth. Even if he was given the delicacies from land and sea, he would not feel that any of them tasted good at all. Forcing yourself to eat after you are full is definitely a very painful experience. In the end, Xinhuan softened her heart. Let's have a drink together tonight and eat while we drink. Xinhuan suddenly took out a bottle of red wine and took the initiative to suggest. Xiaotian was stunned. Still drinking? Why did both sides want to drink tonight? But he finally didn't have to eat first, so he immediately stood up and picked up the glass. Why are you standing? Sit down and drink. We as a family don't need to be so formal. Xinhuan gestured to Xiaotian to sit down and there was no need to be so formal. Of course she knew why Xiaotian stood up, she said that on purpose. It's okay. I've been sitting for the whole afternoon. Let me stand for a while. Xiaotian felt that his bulging stomach felt a little better after standing. Let's have the first drink. Let's congratulate the three of us for having withstood the test given to us by God. Our little family has not broken up. Let's have a drink to celebrate. Xinhuan suggested and raised the glass. Hearing Xinhuan say this, Xiaotian immediately picked up the wine glass. He felt even more guilty when talking about this matter. It was all a misunderstanding caused by himself, which led to such a large wave of things, causing Xinhuan and Su-ro to suffer a wave of cyber violence. Fortunately, with Guya's guidance, it did not lead to a disaster in the end. Xiaotian drank the wine in his glass in one gulp. Then he took the initiative to pour himself another glass of wine and took the initiative to pick up the glass and said, Sister Warner, Sister Ro, I sincerely and solemnly apologize to both of you. It's all my fault. It was my mistake. Before Xiaotian could finish, Xinhuan interrupted him and said, We have already talked about this at noon. This matter cannot be blamed entirely on you. Let's not say anything. Xiaotian's attitude softened Xinhuan's heart a little. If you can't eat anymore, then don't eat. Can you drink something? Looking at Xiaotian, who was having difficulty sitting down, Xinhuan said she was going to let him go. As if he had been pardoned, Xiaotian quickly pushed the bowl away. He really couldn't eat anymore. Sister Warner, Sister Ro, burp, let me have a drink with you. Xiaotian said as he burped. Can you still drink it? Su-ro looked at Xiaotian and asked him with a smile. It's okay to drink less. Although Xiaotian was feeling full, he definitely couldn't spoil the fun at this time. Then the second cup, I wish us a harmonious and happy future. Xinhuan raised another cup. After all three of them finished, Xiaotian burped again. The third cup, I wish us to be together forever and all our dreams come true. Chapter 77 Good Things Come in Pairs. At 6 o'clock in the morning, Xiaotian woke up on time and was a little dazed for a moment. Holding the fairy-like person in my arms, with her graceful figure, it felt like a dream in summer, a little unreal. He couldn't help but pinch Xinhuan's round and full breasts, which immediately caused her to talk in her sleep. However, perhaps because he was too tired, after slapping Xiaotian's naughty hand away, he turned over and fell into a deep sleep again. He didn't freeze his hands and feet in the summer, because this kind of feeling could not be experienced in dreams. He got up quietly and prepared to get up early to exercise. This aspect must not be neglected. If the intensity is the same as last night, although he almost had a good time, the intensity is too strong. Even if he has an iron body, he can't bear it. Fortunately, the system has strengthened his body before. Last night, he only won a slight victory with a little innate advantage. If it was a little bit worse, he would be embarrassed. Xinwan, a teacher in the finance department of Shuemu University, a talented lady, a fairy with both beauty and wisdom, finally became an angel who fell into the mortal world. Su Ro was the same. She had originally agreed to use Xia Tian as a tool, but she didn't expect his enthusiasm to be so high. There was no sign or preparation at all. Although I felt that our relationship was warming yesterday, I didn't expect that it would come true last night. Originally thinking that Xia Tian had consumed a lot of physical strength and energy at Imperial Capital University, they were ready to teach him a severe lesson, letting him know that in such matters, men should not be too greedy, otherwise it would easily hurt their kidneys. Unfortunately, the two of them made a wrong calculation. Xinwan finally understood that Guya was not joking when she said that she had great physical strength in the summer. That was really good. Xia Tian, who had already expended a lot of energy at Imperial Capital University, still made the two of them feel a little overwhelmed. The first reason is that this is the first time the new car is on the road, and all parts and components are very sensitive. The more important reason is that Xia Tian's physical strength is really good now. The physical strength rewarded by the system every day is not a lie, it is real. Especially since it happened to be a new week, the weekly reward system for physical exercise gave Xia Tian a kidney strengthening pill. I don't know if the system is specifically taking care of Xia Tian because he now has 4 wives. Anyway, after taking the kidney strengthening pill, Xia Tian felt that he could easily deal with 4 wives without any problem. This was also Xia Tian's illusion. Although the kidney strengthening pills rewarded by the system were very useful and powerful, they were not strong enough to fight 4 people at once. The reason for this illusion is that no matter whether it is Guya and Lu Xian, or Xinwan and Su Ro, they are all novices and have never been on the road in a new car. Therefore, they are very sensitive in all aspects, and they will feel a very strong feeling when the accelerator is slightly stepped on. After the new car has been run in for a while, Xia Tian's body, which has taken the kidney strengthening pills, will not be able to hold up well. Fortunately, the system's rewards will not stop, and there may be even better rewards than the kidney strengthening pills in the future. In short, Xia Tian will always be able to dominate in bed. Ding, congratulations to the host for finally becoming a real couple with the person matched by the system. You have completed the hidden task. You are now rewarded with 100% of the shares of Yunhai Agricultural Company and Yunhai Animal Husbandry Company. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully consummating his marriage with his first wife Xinwan last night. I am now rewarding you with a set of Yunhai Villa No. 8, which has 3 floors above ground and 1 floor underground. There are 2 luxury cars, which have been parked in the underground parking space of the villa. Ding, congratulations to the host for successfully becoming a couple with Su Ro last night. You are now rewarded with room 2801, Building 8, Yunhai Community, a duplex with an upper and lower structure of 308 square meters, and an underground parking space. A top-of-the-line luxury car has been parked in the underground parking lot of Yunhai Community. Hee, my system is still very smart. As long as I have sex with my wife for the first time, the system will give me super generous rewards, usually a house and a luxury car. The time with Guya and Lu Xian, the reward given by the system was quite generous, including the ownership of a 5-star hotel and Suji private restaurant. That was because Xia Tian upgraded from a boy to a man, so the reward was particularly generous. This time, the system rewards Xia Tian's Yunhai Agriculture and Yunhai Animal Husbandry. That's because Xia Tian and Xinwan, who were forcibly matched by the system, became a real couple and completed the hidden task, so the reward is particularly generous. Although these 2 companies are not well known to the outside world, their assets are huge and they own a large number of high-quality agricultural and animal husbandry products. Today's reward is quite good, as the product can be used in my own hotel and restaurant. I got up quietly, went to the kitchen in the summer, cooked a pot of porridge in the rice cooker, and then went out to exercise. Breathing the fresh air in the morning makes people feel relaxed and refreshed. After more than 20 days of exercise, he gradually got used to getting up early, running every morning, and sweating a little. It was very comfortable, and he felt full of energy for the whole day ahead. Good morning, you are more than 10 minutes late today. A beautiful figure ran over from afar. Her forehead was slightly sweaty, and it was obvious that she had been running for a while. I have become familiar with Cheng Qian for a long time, and now we run with each other in the summer. I got up today and cooked some porridge, so I'm a little late. Xia Tian explained. The two of them started running around the playground together in tacit understanding. Cheng Qian was very surprised about the boy Xia Tian. From not being able to run at the beginning, he can now keep up with her speed and run with her. This is very rare. You have to know that Cheng Qian is an athlete. Although she is not a track and field athlete, she is very good at running. Most boys can't keep up with her pace at all. This kid is a wasted sports talent. Cheng Qian thought as she looked at Xia Tian, who could easily follow her footsteps. 2 laps, 3 laps. An hour later, Cheng Qian and Xia Tian were both sweating profusely, their bodies soaked with sweat. The weather in September was still hot. Wow, you're great, you're making rapid progress. Do you want to sign up for the college students' games? Cheng Qian was full of praise for Xia Tian. He had made such great progress in such a short period of time. She believed that with some professional guidance and training, Xia Tian would definitely achieve good results. Chapter 78, His Way. Forget it, I just practice as a hobby, mainly for physical exercise. Xia Tian refused to participate in any sports games. He only exercised to get system rewards, so there was no need for him to participate in any sports games. What a pity! Cheng Qian shook her head regretfully. She really felt it was a pity. She believed that Xia Tian definitely had talent in this area and could be trained to be an athlete, but he was not interested in this and there was nothing she could do. What's so sad about this? Athletes need to be hardworking and have the spirit of perseverance. I don't think I can handle this, Xia Tian said honestly. He might have been able to endure hardships when he had no money before, but if he were to endure hardships again now, he felt that he might not be able to do it. So what is your future ambition? Finance? Cheng Qian asked casually. No, my ambition is to have professionals to help me make money in the future, and I will just enjoy a carefree life every day. Xia Tian said honestly that he could already achieve this kind of life. With the system giving him money, he only needed to enjoy life and spend it happily. How can you have such an unmotivated idea? You are a top student in Shuimu, and you should have grand goals like changing the world and changing humanity in the future. Cheng Qian looked at Xia Tian, who should be a young man full of vigor and vitality, but had a retirement mentality. The contrast made her frown. Hey, don't set such ambitious goals for yourself in life. My goal now is to live every day in peace, health, and happiness. This is really Xia Tian's current mentality. Now that he is financially independent, he doesn't want to make his life so tiring. He just wants to live his life however he wants. Your idea is wrong. It's very dangerous, you know? If everyone thinks like you, how will society develop? How will our country progress? Cheng Qian was about to change Xia Tian's attitude towards life, but before she could finish, Xia Tian looked at her watch and interrupted her. Teacher Chang, it's time for me to exercise. I have to go buy breakfast. See you tomorrow. After that, he ran away. Before Cheng Qian could react, Xia Tian was gone. This guy, no, I have to correct his wrong idea. Cheng Qian said to herself as she watched Xia Tian's back disappear into the distance. Xia Tian ran away before Cheng Qian's moral blackmail. He didn't want to attend the ideological education class. Xia Tian didn't want to think too much now. He was thinking about going to the cafeteria to buy breakfast. Xinwan and Su Rou should have woken up by now. Carrying a large sumptuous breakfast, Xia Tian returned to the apartment. Sure enough, Xinwan and Su Rou were already up. When they saw Xia Tian coming back, their expressions changed a little. Before, they looked at Xia Tian with more concern and love, but now their eyes were full of happiness and love. The changes in women in this aspect are very significant. You got up so early, why don't you take a rest for a while? Xia Tian asked with concern. I'm hungry. What did you buy for breakfast? Su Rou rubbed her stomach. It's getting late, it's time to get up. Haven't you come back from exercise? I saw the kitchen cooked porridge for us. You did a good job. Xinwan praised Xia Tian's performance in the morning. Since you performed so well, is there any reward? Xia Tian looked at Xinwan's tempting red lips with anticipation and couldn't help swallowing again. What reward do you want? Xinwan didn't know what Xia Tian meant by this. For example, reward me with a sweet kiss. This will make me more motivated. Xia Tian put the breakfast in his hand on the dining table while speaking. I discovered that you are such a lustful boy. Su-ro couldn't help but complain. Lu? Then I'll be lustful for you to see. Xiatian went up to Su-ro, hugged her, and kissed her. At first Su-ro resisted a few times, but soon she softened in Xiatian's arms, and was kissed so hard that she didn't know where she was. After a while, Xiatian finally let go of Su-ro, who was breathing rapidly and panting. Haven't you heard of the saying true manliness? Besides, who made you two so attractive? It would be abnormal if I didn't have any feelings about you. There was nothing wrong with what Xiatian said. After last night's nourishment, the two of them were now full of a particularly attractive femininity. Are you two hungry? How about I eat first and you guys continue? Xinhuan had already brought out the porridge and served a bowl to each of the three of them. She was now peeling a tea egg. Thank you, my wife, for helping me serve the porridge. Here's a bite as a reward, Mum. Xiatian certainly couldn't show favoritism, so he went over and kissed Xinhuan again. Xinhuan behaved gracefully and without any shyness. She responded to Xiatian's kiss enthusiastically. However, after a brief taste, Xinhuan let Xiatian go. Let's eat first. After dinner, think about what we are going to do today? The three of them finally sat down at the dining table and started to eat breakfast. While they were eating, the message alerts on Xiatian's phone rang one after another. Who would send you a message so early in the morning? Xinhuan asked seemingly unintentionally. Let me see. Xiatian took out his phone while eating and checked it. When he saw the message on the green bubble, his heart skipped a beat. These were messages that Lu Xian sent to him, several messages in a row. Lu Xian, husband, where are you? Crying JPG. Lu Xian, husband, when did you leave? I feel wronged. Lu Xian, hubby, I want a hug. When will you come back? I miss you. JPG. Lu Xian, take a break today. Xiaoya and I will accompany you to visit the capital. Xiaoya said she wants to buy something for you. When will you come to pick us up? Lu Xian, husband, have you seen this? Why haven't you replied to my message yet? Lu Xian sent many messages in succession, and the reason why Lu Xian sent messages so early in the morning was because Xinhuan had just sent a message to Guya. Xinhuan, hey, how come Xiatian is so energetic and clingy? He didn't sleep until midnight last night, and he cooked porridge and bought breakfast for us early in the morning. He even refused to eat breakfast. Look, he insisted on taking a bite. Here's a photo of Xiatian and Su-ro kissing. Guya looked at the green bubble message that Xinhuan sent to her, and her pretty face turned blue with anger. This little bastard, when did I ever ask you to do these things on my side? Do you have to be so eager to serve others? Sure enough, all men are pigs. Chapter 79. Come again? I hide. Looking at the messages received on his green bubble, Xiatian felt a little headache. It started again. Would it never end? Xinhuan and Su-ro in front of him were looking at him with sharp eyes, while on the other side, the messages from Lu Xian on the green bubble on his phone were coming one after another without stopping. What to do? Xiatian, who has never had a serious relationship in his entire life, now faces a Shura field that starts from hell. This kind of situation is too much for a simple newbie like him. Even the scumbag Aquaman would have a headache if he encountered such a situation. No matter which side I accompany today, it seems that I will offend the other side. The happiness and sweetness just now have long disappeared, leaving only helplessness in my heart. Why do we have to fight with each other like this? Can't we live in harmony? Don't you know that we are in a harmonious society now? Xiatian's brain was working at high speed, trying to think of a way to deal with the situation. But before he could come up with a solution that would satisfy both parties, his cell phone rang. He looked at the caller ID and it was Lu Xian. It's over. I didn't get a reply from myself, so I called her directly. What to do? To answer or not to answer? Looking up at Xinhuan and Su-ro, Xiatian looked embarrassed. He didn't know what was going on. The two sides were so at odds with each other, and he was caught in the middle and was in a dilemma. Answer it. Don't worry about us. Just pretend we don't exist. Xinhuan said this, but her eyes were fixed on the ringing phone in Xiatian's hand. Holding the phone, Xiatian thought about it and decided to answer the call, but he couldn't, because Xinhuan and Su-ro had already seen the name on the caller ID of his phone. Even if they didn't see the name, they would have guessed who the call was from Xiatian's shy state. Under the gaze of Xinhuan and Su-ro, Xiatian answered the phone. Hello, husband, what are you doing? Why don't you reply to my message? Lu Xian's charming voice came from the phone. Fox Charmer. Su Ro whispered softly, her voice just loud enough for Xia Tian and Xinhuan to hear. What could Xia Tian do? He had to pretend he didn't hear it. I'm still eating breakfast. Have you finished breakfast? Xia Tian asked him. Honey, when did you leave last night? You did that to me and then sneaked away by yourself. You are really good. Lu Xian's words made Xia Tian feel uneasy. I have some things to deal with at the company, so let's not chat for now. Xia Tian wanted to hang up the phone as soon as possible. You're going to work today? We were planning to go shopping with you. Lu Xian was unhappy, and suddenly remembered something. Are you sure you're going to work? It's absolutely true. I'll go over and take a look while I have some time today. Otherwise, I won't have time when classes start tomorrow. Xia Tian thought about it and decided that it would be better to escape this way so as not to offend either side. Otherwise he would have to split himself in half. Are we going to the Emperor Hotel? Or Su's private restaurant? Is it convenient for us to go together? Lu Xian asked again. Well, today I'm going to a company called Yunhai Agriculture to handle some handover procedures, so it's not very convenient for you to go together. Xia Tian spoke more and more fluently. He really planned to go to Yunhai Agriculture Company to take a look. After all, the system rewarded him, so he had to go and take a look at the situation. Oh, I see. Then when you're done with your work, come over to our place for dinner. I've made a tonic soup for you to nourish your body. It's Xiaoya's secret recipe. Lu Xian spoke again. Xia Tian clearly felt that Xinhuan and Su Ro's gazes were fixed on him at the same time. I may not have time today. The Yunhai Agricultural Company we are going to today is quite far away, in the mountains. It will probably be very late when we come back, so I won't go over and disturb your rest. Xia Tian declined. How is it a disturbance if you go back to your own home? You have to come back for class tomorrow, right? It's very convenient for you to come to our place and go to class tomorrow. It's not far. Lu Xian did not give up and continued to speak. Well, we'll see what happens then. I really don't know what the situation will be like then. I can't tell now. Don't wait for me. Xia Tian had a headache. Xinhuan and Su Ro on the other side were staring at him. How could he answer? Should he agree to go there on the spot? Although he really wanted to go there, especially when he thought of Guya and Lu Xian's cooperation, he felt a surge of heat in his heart. But he couldn't. Anyway, the door of our house is always open to you. No matter how late you come back, you can come back at any time. Don't feel embarrassed to disturb us if you come back too late, okay? Husband and wife shouldn't care about these things. Although Lu Xian's words made Xia Tian feel warm in her heart, the timing of speaking seemed to be wrong, because Xinhuan and Su Ro both had very cold faces. After dealing with Lu Xian for a few more sentences, he finally hung up the phone. In the summer, he felt that answering a phone call was more tiring than running 10 kilometers. Come shopping with us today, we need to buy some things. Su Ro said to Xia Tian. Xinhuan and Su Ro were satisfied that Xia Tian turned down the two women from the imperial capital, although they were a little unhappy with him lying to them, because if he could deceive the two women from the imperial capital, he could also deceive them. Although you lied to them in order to accompany us, it was a white lie, but it's not very good. It's better to tell the truth in the future. Xinhuan frowned and said to Xia Tian. Well, I really have to go to Yunhai Agricultural Company today to handle the handover procedures. I'm not lying. Xia Tian said weakly. Upon hearing this, Xinhuan and Su Ro both looked at him in confusion. Didn't he just make up an excuse to lie to the two people next to him? Xia Tian took out a text message from his mobile phone. It was a message from Yunhai Agricultural Company inviting Xia Tian to go over and handle the handover procedures. He handed it to Xinhuan and Su Ro to check. Look, I really didn't lie. They asked me to come over early this morning, but I didn't have the chance to tell you. Xia Tian pointed to the content on the text message on the mobile phone and said to the two. The text message was correct. It was received early this morning. It was a message from the current general manager of Yunhai Agricultural Company. Besides, it's not suitable for you to walk too much today. You should take a good rest. After all, last night, you still need to rest more. I have ordered lunch and dinner for you, and someone will deliver them to you. You just stay at home and rest for a day. It's important to recover your body. Xia Tian's words made both of them blush. Although Xia Tian said it implicitly, they certainly knew what he meant. After all, there was something strange somewhere in their bodies. Chapter 80. Wang Nan had a car accident. Xia Tian finally left the teacher's apartment, but this happy trouble left him with some lingering fears. If you have to endure this every day, who can bear it? There is still a long way to go, and this is not a long-term solution. I am having a headache in the summer and am thinking about how to solve this problem. What should I do? Shaking his head, Xia Tian, who was at a loss, took out his cell phone and thought of searching online to see if other netizens had any better solutions. Not to mention, the internet is really full of talented people. There are quite a few netizens who have experience with this issue in summer. One netizen even revealed that he was dating 28 girlfriends at the same time, making him a top-level time management master. This genius on the internet usually suggests dressing himself up as an elite who is very busy and needs to travel frequently. In fact, he has nothing to do. He revolves around his 28 girlfriends all day long, cheating on one and then the other. He has breakfast with one in the morning, lunch with another at noon, dinner with another in the evening, and continues to change before going to bed. Xia Tian was watching the movie with great interest, but suddenly his cell phone rang. The caller ID showed Wang Nan. Seeing this name gave Xia Tian a headache. His 4 wives were already giving him a lot of trouble, and he really didn't want to get involved with other women. But I had already promised Wang Nan that I would accompany her shopping. Oh, what a sin! Hello, Wang Nan. Xia Tian was thinking of finding an excuse that he was not feeling well to reject Wang Nan's invitation to go shopping, but before he could say anything, Wang Nan's crying voice was heard from the other end of the phone. Ah, it hurts, don't touch me, Xia Tian, I was hit by a car, come here quickly. Well, Wang Nan's crying made Xia Tian's heart wrenched. Without time to think about it, he hurriedly asked for the address. Fortunately, it was not far away, just on a street outside the school. Xia Tian immediately ran towards there. Since he could make a phone call and ask for help, he thought it shouldn't be serious, but Xia Tian was still extremely anxious. When Xia Tian arrived at the scene, he saw Wang Nan sitting on the curb with her hands around her left leg. A man was squatting next to her, mumbling something. Xia Tian walked quickly forward to Wang Nan's side and said, Wang Nan, what happened? Are you okay? Hearing Xia Tian's voice and seeing Xia Tian running over in a hurry, Wang Nan burst into tears of grievance and pouted, Xia Tian, my leg is broken, it hurts. Xia Tian was shocked. Broken leg? It can't be that serious? So serious? Why don't you go to the hospital right away? He stepped forward and looked down at the left leg that Wang Nan was holding. It was smooth and had a large purple patch, but there was no skin breakage or bleeding. Xia Tian didn't know if this was serious or not. If there was an internal injury, it was possible. Can you still move? Wait for me to drive, we'll go to the hospital right away, your leg will be fine. Xia Tian comforted him. He stood up and was about to drive his car. His sports car was in a parking lot not far away, which was very convenient. Hello, handsome guy, who are you to this beautiful lady? Her leg should be fine, she just had a slight bump by accident. At this time, the man who was squatting next to her stood up and spoke to Xia Tian. Did you hit her? Xia Tian frowned and asked instead of answering. Yes, I was distracted for a moment and this beauty rushed out too fast, so I hit her. But I was not driving fast, the beauty's leg should be fine, the man explained. Your leg is bruised all over, and you still say you're okay? Does it have to be a broken leg to be considered okay? Xia Tian asked unhappily. Handsome guy, that's not what I meant. After the accident, the first thing I said was to send this beautiful lady to the hospital for examination and treatment, but the beautiful lady wouldn't let me touch her. She insisted on calling you and waiting for you to come over. The man explained. Wait a minute, I'll drive. Let's go to the hospital for a checkup first. After saying this to Wang Nan, Xia Tian didn't waste any more words with the man. It was useless to say more now. The most urgent priority was to send Wang Nan to the hospital first. Xia Tian turned around and was about to drive his sports car. The man next to him immediately took the initiative and said, Handsome, take my car to the hospital. It's right here. The man pointed to a BMW X5 next to him. He looked calm and composed, his eyes kept scanning back and forth between Xia Tian and Wang Nan, wondering in his heart what the relationship between the two was. After hitting someone, he secretly sighed that he was unlucky, but he was not afraid of compensation. After all, he drove a good car and bought comprehensive insurance. It would just be troublesome to waste his time dealing with the matter. But after seeing that Wang Nan, the girl he bumped into, was actually a super young and beautiful lady, the man was secretly delighted. He originally thought it was a big trouble, but unexpectedly it turned out to be his lucky romance. After hitting a beautiful woman, I have to send her to the hospital, get checked out and pay compensation. After all this trouble, the two of them must have become familiar with each other. Isn't this my chance? With his financial resources and status, it shouldn't be difficult to take down the other party. The man was thinking about his own little tricks. He immediately put on what he thought was the best attitude, got out of the car and wanted to help Wang Nan go to the hospital, but Wang Nan resisted strongly. Not to mention helping, she wouldn't even get close to him. Before summer came, the man tried to persuade Wang Nan to accept his kindness and good intentions and send her to the hospital quickly so as not to delay the examination, but Wang Nan ignored him. Okay, then let's go to the hospital in your car. Xia Tian nodded and agreed. His car could only seat 2 people, and the man was the cause of the accident, so of course he had to go to the hospital. It's not that Xia Tian is short of that little bit of medical expenses, but one thing at a time, the man must take responsibility for the payment. When the man heard Xia Tian's agreement, he immediately stepped forward and was about to support Wang Nan. What are you doing? Don't touch me. Wang Nan strongly scolded the man. Beauty, I have no ill intentions, I just want to help you get in the car. After all, you have a leg injury and can't use force. The man was depressed. He was not bad looking, right? Why was this beauty so resistant to him? You don't need to support me, Xia Tian. My legs hurt. Just hold me. Wang Nan didn't have a good look at the man at all. She turned to Xia Tian with a look of frailty and tears. The man's face changed several times, but he didn't say anything. Xia Tian didn't think too much, he bent down and picked up Wang Nan. Seeing that the man was still standing there in a daze, Xia Tian said unhappily, "Help me open the door." Chapter 81 Stupid Stuff. You are all students from other places, right? You don't have to worry about the cost of going to the hospital for a checkup. I will pay for all the expenses. After the man drove on the road, he looked at Xia Tian and Wang Nan who were still hugging each other and didn't separate, and felt gloomy. But he didn't plan to give up, mainly because Wang Nan was so beautiful and so rare in his circle. He didn't want to give up this good luck and love that God had given him. Even if the other party had a boyfriend, it didn't matter. As the saying goes, if you can use the hoe well, there is no corner that you can't dig down. His advantage as a local and the capital of a successful person are his bargaining chips for pursuing the beauty in front of him. Yeah, okay. Xia Tian simply replied. After he got in the car, he wanted to let go of Wang Nan, but Wang Nan refused to let go. Xia Tian was helpless about this, and Wang Nan went even further. She curled up in Xia Tian's arms, looking at Xia Tian with a miserable face, asking for comfort and a hug. Xia Tian couldn't bear to refuse Wang Nan, so he had to continue to acquiesce and hold her. By the way, we haven't introduced ourselves yet. My name is Zhaoyi, and I'm a middle-level leader at the Imperial Capital Power Grid Company. What's your name? The man, Zhaoyi, was unwilling to be ignored by the beautiful woman in front of him. At least he had to know her name and phone number so that he could prepare for his next plan. Oh, my name is Xia Tian, her name is Wang Nan. Xia Tian had no desire to chat with him, because Wang Nan didn't know whether it was because of the pain in her legs. She was not at all at ease in his arms, and kept twisting and turning. The weather was hot, and everyone was wearing relatively cool clothes, so this sense was particularly clear. Xia Tian had to make great efforts to control his body from having certain reactions, otherwise Wang Nan would definitely find out. Oh, you are all still students, right? What year are you in? Zhaoyi was making small talk. He just didn't want to leave them both alone in the back row. Can you please stop talking? I want some quiet time. Wang Nan frowned and told this annoying guy to shut up. She finally had a chance to be alone and intimate with Xia Tian at home, but the guy driving in front kept chattering on and on, which annoyed her greatly. Sorry, classmate Wang Nan, I won't say anything more. If you feel uncomfortable, maybe you can lie down in the back seat, and let your male classmates sit in the front passenger seat. There is more space and it may not hurt so much when you lie down. Zhaoyi looked at Xia Tian with some jealousy and couldn't help but made this suggestion. As for whether this could relieve the pain, no one knew. His purpose was simply that he didn't want Xia Tian to hug Wang Nan anymore. Xia Tian was eager to see the man's suggestion. He was now afraid of getting intimate with girls because of Xinwan and Guya. He felt exhausted with 4 women now. He couldn't imagine that if there was another one, and they were fighting like them, he would probably go crazy. Please shut up. If you have time to talk, can you please drive faster? Wang Nan was so angry. She had never seen such an annoying and inconsiderate person. Didn't he see that the 2 of them were getting bored? Do you think you are polite to disturb others casually? So she stopped being polite when she spoke. Well, it's just a suggestion, and it's mainly for your own good. Zhao Yi continued to chatter on and on. At this moment, he fully demonstrated that if you want to get close to a woman, you have to be thick-skinned. No matter what a woman says, you have to pretend you didn't hear it. You should care when you should care, and express yourself when you should express yourself. You have to be so shameless to deepen girls' impression of you. Keep your suggestion. Stop talking now. My friend wants to be quiet for a while. Don't disturb her anymore. Xia Tian couldn't stand it anymore and couldn't help but interrupt the man who was still talking to himself. Zhao Yi ignored Xia Tian. He didn't take this potential rival seriously. He was just a college student who hadn't been beaten by society. What was there to care about? In front of him, he was just a younger brother. When he finally got the beauty, he would cry. Stop. I find you to be quite stubborn. I told you to keep quiet, but you insisted on doing the opposite, right? Xia Tian frowned and looked at the man driving in front with dissatisfaction on his face. He was convinced. He had never seen such an ungrateful person. If you don't want to listen, you can get off the car. No one will stop you. I can take classmate Wang Nan to the hospital by myself. Zhao Yi's face gradually turned cold. He is just a student. I ignored you for the sake of a beautiful girl, but you are still trying to get ahead of me. What a jerk. I decided not to indulge him anymore. Is this your attitude towards solving problems? You forced us to get out of the car while you were sending the person you hit to the hospital? Is this your attitude towards the person you hit? Do you think you are great for driving a junky car? Do you think you are awesome? You didn't hit someone on purpose, did you? Wang Nan was furious. How dare this disgusting man in front of her tell Xia Tian to get out of the car? She couldn't stand it at all. I didn't say I wanted to kick you out of the car. I meant that if you are not used to riding in my car, you can get off. Zhao Yi explained, but before he could finish, he was interrupted by Wang Nan again. I now have reason to suspect that you have bad intentions towards me. You drove my friends away and left me alone with a wound on my leg. What is your intention? Stop your car right now. I dare not ride in your car anymore. I want to call the police. Wang Nan's words made Zhao Yi frown. It seemed that things had backfired. He was a little too anxious just now, which aroused the vigilance and disgust of the beautiful woman in front of him. Hey, why are you two so sensitive to humor? It's just a joke. Don't be nervous. We old people in the imperial capital are quite humorous. Don't worry, I will definitely get you to the hospital safely. Zhao Yi was about to make an excuse to make a joke to cover up his words, but before he could finish, Xia Tian interrupted him and continued. Stop the car. If you move on, I'll call the police. Xia Tian took out his cell phone and said to the man. The man didn't want to pay attention to Xia Tian at first, but Xia Tian actually called the police. Hello, is this Officer 1? Xia Tian's voice rang out in the car. Hello, Xia Tian? Why are you calling me? When Lan's refreshing voice came from the other end of the phone. Officer 1, one of my female classmates was hit by a BMW X5. On the way to the hospital, the perpetrator threatened to ask me to get out of the car and leave my injured female classmate alone. Xia Tian told Wen Lan about everything as soon as he answered the phone. Fortunately, they had exchanged contact information yesterday. At this moment, the role of the police friend was revealed. Chapter 82, Dog Skin Plaster. Zhao Yi was a little dumbfounded. He never expected that a mere word he said in a moment of haste would bring him into so much trouble. He was in a dilemma as to whether to stop the car or not. He looked suspicious, wondering if this guy was trying to cheat him. But soon, Zhao Yi had to stop his car because comrades from the Public Security Bureau stopped his car. Zhao Yi's face turned green. Damn, this kid is actually serious. But he knew it too late, and it was too late for him to regret it. Then, Zhao Yi was taken away for investigation, while Xia Tian and Wang Nan were taken to the nearest hospital by police cars. Wang Nan had to be examined and treated as soon as possible. After some X-rays and examinations in the hospital, it was found that the problem was not serious. It was just a minor collision and the bruise would fade away. I think it is not a big problem. If the situation is really serious, Wang Nan's expression would not have become more and more relaxed after such a long time. The pain is just the initial normal reaction after the collision. It seems that Zhao Yi was right. It was indeed just a minor collision. Since the person is fine, it is a blessing in disguise. The person is fine. Wang Nan and Xia Tian have no intention of blackmailing him. Although the man's surname Zhao is indeed very annoying, Xia Tian no longer cares about that little thing. It is just a waste of time. However, Xia Tian did not drive when she came here. Now Wang Nan has a leg injury and it is not very convenient for her to walk. It would be too difficult to take a taxi back. Xia Tian thought about it and decided to drive. He happened to check and found that Chunfeng community was not far from here. He asked Wang Nan to wait for him in the hospital. He planned to drive the Maybach that the system had parked in Chunfeng community. This would make it more convenient to take Wang Nan back. After settling Wang Nan, Xia Tian went to drive alone, while Zhao Yi on the other side also came out of the security bureau. After a lot of explanations and instructions, and with the help of connections and acquaintances, he finally got out. He secretly hated Xia Tian and vowed to get Wang Nan in his heart, so that he could avenge himself today. I don't know whether Wang Nan has left the hospital. As soon as Zhao Yi came out of the security bureau, he rushed to the hospital. When he arrived at the hospital, Xia Tian had just left the hospital. Wang Nan sat alone in the hospital lobby waiting for Xia Tian to drive, thinking about some intimate physical contact he had with Xia Tian today. He didn't think anything of it at the time, but now when he thinks about it, he can't help but feel ashamed of his bold behavior. He wondered how he could be so brave at that time. Just as Wang Nan was getting lost in his thoughts, an annoying voice rang in his ears. "Wang Nan, is your leg okay?" Wang Nan frowned and looked towards the direction where the voice came from. Sure enough, he saw the annoying guy named Zhao appear in front of him again. "Why are you here again?" Wang Nan frowned and looked at Zhao Yi. She felt disgusted with this man. "Your male classmate is purely slandering me. I have explained it clearly to the comrades in the Public Security Bureau, and now it's out. By the way, a lawyer friend of mine is still reminding me and asking me whether I should sue your male classmate. This kind of slandering others is also a very serious crime. However, considering that you and Wang Nan hit it off right away, I didn't ask my lawyer friend to sue. Otherwise, your male classmate might not only go to jail, but at least apologize to me and give me financial compensation." Zhao Yi talked nonsense, no matter how serious the matter was, and he just kept talking nonsense. But he obviously underestimated today's college students. Wang Nan was not ignorant of the law, so how could he be fooled by just a few words? So in that case, do I have to thank you? Wang Nan was so angry that he laughed at this shameless guy. Did he really think of himself as a 3-year-old kid who knew nothing? You're welcome. We are destined to meet. For your sake, I'll let this matter go. I'm a magnanimous person and won't bother with a poor student like him. Zhao Yi thought he had fooled Wang Nan. In his impression, these girls who had just entered college were inexperienced and easy to fool. They could be scared half to death with a few serious words. Whatever he said was what it came down to. Then just let your lawyer friend file a lawsuit. Don't give me any face. Besides, there is no friendship or affection between us. Wang Nan stopped pretending. He couldn't even understand the sarcasm spoken by such a shameless guy. Classmate Wang Nan, you're joking. We are so destined to meet today, how can you say we have no friendship? Even if the deal fails, we still have friendship. Let's not talk about these unimportant things. By the way, how is your leg? Is it serious? Do you want me to use my connections to get an appointment with the chief expert to take a look for you? Zhao Yi found that he failed to scare Wang Nan, so he immediately changed his strategy and began to change the subject. It was fine before I saw you, but it hurt so much after I saw you. How about you stay away from me and I'll try again? Wang Nan was very harsh when he spoke insultingly. Classmate Wang Nan is really good at joking. Since your legs hurt, why don't I help you contact a doctor? Don't be afraid of spending money. By the way, how much did you spend in total? Let's add a green bubble and I'll transfer the money to you. If you have any problems in the future, such as changing the medicine, you can come to me. I promise to be responsible to the end and will never refuse. Zhao Yi said it generously, but only he knew his inner purpose. He wanted Wang Nan's contact information to pave the way for his subsequent pursuit of Wang Nan. Wang Nan has been beautiful since she was a child. She has seen countless strange ways of pursuing her. When she heard what this guy said, she immediately realized that this guy must have ulterior motives. After all this time, it turns out that this guy wants to take advantage of others. My boyfriend helped pay for the fee. We will seek compensation from the traffic police department later. You don't have to pay me. Wang Nan rejected the other party's request to add her as a green bubble friend. There's no need to be so troublesome. Just tell me how much money it is and I'll transfer it to you. It's not like I don't want to take responsibility. We can just negotiate and settle it privately. There's no need to go through the claims settlement procedure, which is both troublesome and time-consuming. Zhao Yi continued. No need, just follow the normal procedures. Wang Nan didn't want to have anything to do with this guy anymore. He felt annoyed just by seeing him. Then let's exchange contact information. I can come to see you. Zhao Yi was a little unwilling to give up and still wanted to fight for it. Just when Zhao Yi was pestering Wang Nan, Xia Tian made a grand appearance in a Maybach. Chapter 83 I'll Make You Angry to Death. The Maybach in summer made Zhao Yi dumbfounded. The figure that was originally entangled with Wang Nan suddenly stopped and stood there in disbelief, thinking to himself, he must have rented the car, it can't be his own car. That's right, it must be like this. Young people nowadays are really vain and have no bottom line. Xia Tian, you are so rich that you are inhumane. This is a Maybach, right? How many luxury cars do you have? Where is your supercar? Wang Nan couldn't help but shine his eyes when looking at the Maybach in front of him. Seeing the luxury car, he felt that even the injury on his leg was alleviated a lot, and the pain in the bruise was also relieved. No matter how good a car is, it's just a means of transportation. You have a leg injury and it's inconvenient for you to sit in a supercar. This car will be more comfortable for you. Xia Tian did not answer Wang Nan's question directly. He wanted to try his best not to make Wang Nan too interested in him, but he underestimated the power of luxury cars on young girls. Luxury cars are too attractive to girls. There is a famous old saying that goes, I would rather cry in a BMW than laugh on a bicycle. Zhao Yi, who was listening to their conversation, immediately showed an expression of as expected on his face. Who has so many luxury cars? For a luxury car worth tens of millions, most wealthy people only need one. It is impossible for them to have one of each luxury car, so it is very likely that the other party's luxury cars are just rented. Luxury car rental companies like Daidu are doing a booming business. This guy should be renting a luxury car just to show off. He thought he had seen through Xia Tian's true colors, so he looked at Xia Tian with a sense of superiority. Although his car was not very luxurious, it was his real car, unlike this guy who was just there to show off. Sister Wang Nan, the car rental business in the capital is booming right now. There are many luxury cars, including Maybach. I even saw on the internet a few days ago that there are even supercars like Lamborghini. Zhao Yi said sarcastically. Yes, I rented her. Then what? Xia Tian was extremely disgusted with this Zhao guy. Wang Nan, are you willing to be my girlfriend? Xia Tian was not going to mess with women casually anymore, but Zhao Yi's behavior angered Xia Tian a little. Don't you just want to gain Wang Nan's favor by belittling me and then win her heart? Then I will take the woman you worship as your goddess right in front of you and stab you directly in the heart. Wang Nan was stunned. Happiness came too suddenly and she was unable to react for a moment. This broke through the relationship and she directly became Xia Tian's girlfriend? Wang Nan reacted and nodded like a chicken pecking at rice, I do. Zhao Yi's face darkened. It turned out that they were not a couple. This was a mistake. However, since he had already been exposed, why did Wang Nan still go up to him? Student Wang Nan, he has admitted that his car was rented. Are you stupid? Don't be fooled. It's none of your business. You talk so much nonsense. What does it have to do with you? Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself in the mirror? Can you please stop being so disgusting? Even if he throws himself at me, I'd still be willing to be his girlfriend. Do you have any objection? Even if you have an objection. Wang Nan's mouth was firing like a machine gun, but she was soon speechless because Xia Tian didn't let her talk anymore. He forcefully and domineeringly blocked her cherry lips with his own, leaving her with nothing to say. Zhao Yi's face turned pale as he watched Xia Tian kiss Wang Nan in front of him. What was he doing? Was he demonstrating to him? He really wanted to punch her hard. Wang Nan's pretty face blushed, and she just passively accepted Xia Tian's kiss awkwardly. However, although she was shy, she didn't have the slightest intention of avoiding it. It was not until Wang Nan, who had no experience in kissing for the first time, became a little breathless that Xia Tian finally let her go. Well, she's quite sweet. You see, even though I rented the car, she was willing to be my girlfriend. Don't you think it's infuriating? Xia Tian licked his lips with a half-smile on his face as if reminiscing the taste, and looked at Zhao Yi, who had a grim face, with a provocative look on his face. What can Zhao Yi do? His face just got darker. Wang Nan is willing to be deceived and bullied by this kid, and he can only watch helplessly. It's so uncomfortable. A man still needs real strength to be able to give his woman happiness. Temporary deception will not last long. Life is not just about flowers and moonlight. More about the daily necessities of life, which all need real economic strength to support. Classmate Wang Nan, I advise you to realize this as soon as possible. Zhao Yi wanted to nag more, but the answer he got was Wang Nan's initiative to kiss Xia Tian again. Zhao Yi fled with a gloomy face. It seemed that he had to plan a plan carefully. Wang Nan, the girl, should be attracted by the boy's handsome appearance, but every girl is vain. After he showed her the charm of money, she would realize that in front of money, handsome looks are nothing. After Zhao Yi, the disgusting guy, left, Xia Tian wanted to let go of Wang Nan. After all, he was not used to showing intimate behavior in public. If it wasn't for the purpose of irritating Zhao Yi, he would never do so with his personality. Wang Nan held Xia Tian's arm with a look of happiness on her face. At this moment, looking at Zhao Yi's figure going away, she suddenly realized that he was not so annoying. To her, he had given her a very powerful assist today, which enabled her to make a breakthrough in the relationship between her and Xia Tian. Hee, Zhao Yi, you are such a good person. At this moment, Xia Tian was secretly having a headache because of his momentary impulse. He promised not to mess with women anymore, but now. Not only did he mess with a woman, but he also messed with a female classmate from his class, right under the nose of his first wife Xinwan. It would probably be discovered soon. What a headache! Seeing that Xia Tian was not as happy as himself, Wang Nan's face darkened and his heart also tightened. Xia Tian, you asked me to be your girlfriend just now, you didn't say that just to deliberately piss off that guy named Zhao, did you? Wang Nan looked at Xia Tian with an uneasy face. Well, I just said that to deliberately piss off that guy named Zhao. Xia Tian's words made Wang Nan's pretty face pale instantly, and her whole body suddenly felt weak. It was all just her wishful thinking. But I really want you to be my girlfriend. This is just an opportunity. What? You don't want to go back on your word? Xia Tian's next words made Wang Nan smile sweetly again. Chapter 84: A New Girlfriend. Wang Nan turned from sadness to joy and hugged Xia Tian tightly with both hands. No way. Although Xia Tian had a headache, he couldn't deny what he had done, right? Besides, Wang Nan was so beautiful, and it wouldn't be a loss for him to have another girlfriend like her. However, there were some things that he had to warn her about first and make things clear in advance. He didn't want the same thing that happened to Xinwan and Su Rou, or Guya and Lu Shen, to happen again. Get in the car first. I'll tell you about my situation, and then you can decide whether you still want to be my girlfriend. Xia Tian decided that he must take precautions against future women, and there must be no more arguments. Wang Nan was stunned. Why did Xia Tian's words make her feel bad? However, she still obediently got into the back seat of the car with Xia Tian's help. Then Xia Tian explained his situation to Wang Nan while driving. The point is that he now has 4 wives who have obtained marriage certificates, and 2 of them are Xinwan and Su Rou, the goddess teachers of Shuimu University who made a big fuss yesterday. Can Wang Nan accept this? Wang Nan's expression froze when he heard this. In a society where there are more women than men, it is not a big deal for an excellent man to marry more wives. But how old is Xia Tian? He is only 20 years old, but he has already married 4 wives. Now he has a girlfriend like me. How many women will he have in the future? These doubts in her heart only flashed by, but soon she threw them behind her head. Isn't this a very normal situation? It is not uncommon for an excellent man to have more women from ancient times to the present, let alone in today's society. Given Xia Tian's excellence, if she backed down, there would definitely be a lot of other women jumping on her. And which of Xia Tian's 4 wives was worse than her? Which of the 4 best female teachers in the top universities was not better than her? So what was there for her to hesitate about? I am willing to be your wife. Wang Nan expressed her attitude solemnly. Well, let's make it clear first. I can't be with you all the time. After all, I have 4 wives to accompany me. But don't worry, I will definitely spend time with you. Xia Tian said the matter in advance to avoid her complaining in the future that he didn't accompany her often. But you can rest assured about the money. You will have the same things they have. I will give you 100,000 yuan pocket money every week. You can buy whatever you want. I will cover all the large purchases. Xia Tian's words made Wang Nan very excited, and she was secretly glad that she had not chosen the wrong person. Xia Tian did not send Wang Nan back to school. Instead, he booked a presidential suite in a 5-star hotel outside the school, which happened to be the hotel where he stayed on the first day after he activated the system. Of course, Xia Tian did not want to do anything bad when he brought Wang Nan to the hotel. Although Wang Nan's leg injury was not too serious, she was injured after all. It was not very convenient for her to recuperate in the school dormitory. 4 people lived in one dormitory, and the conditions were definitely not as quiet and convenient as in a hotel. It was just to let Wang Nan have a good rest, but Wang Nan thought wrongly. When she entered the hotel, her pretty face blushed, thinking that Xia Tian wanted to do something bad to her. Although she had never been in a relationship, she had seen many people run wild, and of course she knew that it was not uncommon for couples to book a room in today's society. It turned out that Wang Nan was just overthinking it. Although Xia Tian would occasionally take advantage of him, he never did anything excessive. He was not an animal who only knew about those few things. Xia Tian and Wang Nan stayed in the hotel all morning and had a sumptuous meal at noon, which was delivered to the room by the presidential suite's butler. After dinner, Xia Tian left the hotel. Yilan called and said that she and the 2 sisters of the Su family wanted to meet with him to discuss matters concerning the hotel and the restaurant, and asked him to make time to meet and talk. Xia Tian thought about it and decided that he really needed to meet the other person and have a good chat with him about these things. Otherwise, it would not be a good idea to keep the other person from having doubts. After saying something to Wang Nan, Xia Tian drove to the Dihao Hotel, which now belonged to him. In the office of General Manager Yilan, 3 super beauties were sitting together. Xia Tian sat in the seat that originally belonged to Yilan, leaning back in the boss chair. It was really comfortable. No wonder so many people liked to climb up. Yilan and the 2 sisters of the Su family first explained and introduced the current situation of the hotel and restaurant to Xia Tian. After they finished speaking, Xia Tian slowly said, "You have already told me about the situation of the hotel and restaurant, and I have a basic understanding of it. I still say that the hotel and restaurant will continue to be fully handed over to you to manage. I have no plans to change people in the short term, so you don't have to worry. It will be the same in the future as before. If you have any ideas and measures, just go for it. I won't be a constraint on you." Xia Tian's words made the 3 of them breathe a sigh of relief. Although Xia Tian had expressed this attitude yesterday, because the situation yesterday was a bit special, Xia Tian's main focus was on dealing with other things, so he might not take it seriously. Today's formal statement made the 3 of them feel a lot more relieved. Then Xia Tian signed new employment contracts with the 3 people, as well as some important documents. The lie he told Xinwan and Su Rou yesterday came true today. Mr. Xia, Su Yuyu still felt awkward and unaccustomed to calling Xia Tian, a boy younger than herself, Mr. Xia. "Just call me Xia Tian, I'm not that particular." Xia Tian took the initiative to speak. "Xia Tian, are those 2 excellent and beautiful female teachers from Shuimu University that appeared on the internet yesterday really your wives?" Su Yuyu couldn't resist her curiosity and asked gossipingly. Yilan and Su Qingqing on the other side also looked at Xia Tian with curiosity. They were also curious about this question. Absolutely genuine. He couldn't help but smile bitterly when talking about this summer. He suspected that his wife's behavior was a bit too lame yesterday. "So are you a couple by agreement?" Su Yuyu asked again. After all, in today's society, such couples by agreement are too common. And judging from the fact that Xia easily suspected his wife of cheating yesterday, the probability that they are a couple by agreement is very high. "No, we are a real couple." Yesterday was just a misunderstanding. Now we have resolved the misunderstanding, so stop gossiping. Xia Tian glared at Su Yuyu, the gossiping woman. Chapter 85 Yilan's background. Xia Tian, your 4 wives are all highly educated women from the top universities in the country. They are both beautiful and talented. How could they choose to marry you at the same time? Su Yuyu asked Xia Tian puzzledly. You two have not yet agreed to a husband and wife relationship. I just can't understand. Although Xia Tian is quite rich, a well-educated and excellent woman like her shouldn't care too much about money and other mundane things. She looked at Xia Tian puzzledly, with a strong desire for knowledge and eagerness. On the other side, Yilan and Su Qingqing also looked curious. Women are gossipy and they were also curious about this. Xia Tian was speechless. From what you said, do you mean that I am so terrible in your eyes? Xia Tian was not satisfied. No matter what, he could be considered a model of a high-quality man, right? That's not the case. After all, you are a high-quality guy who is rich and good-looking. You should still be very popular. Su Yuyu told the truth. That's it. With my outstanding strength, there is no woman I can't conquer? Xia Tian said complacently. Yes, you are amazing. Tell us, how did you get involved with a female teacher in college as soon as you entered college? And you even got 4 female teachers to marry you at the same time? Su Yuyu's face lit up, and in order to hear the story, she didn't hesitate to compliment Xia Tian against her will. Hee, since you want to know, then I'll tell you, but it's enough for you to know about this, don't tell anyone. Xia Tian was a little elated. He also had another intention, which was to ask the 3 of them for advice on how to balance the women on both sides. Otherwise, he was really afraid to go back. Next, Xia Tian roughly recounted the story between himself and his 4 wives. It was inevitable that he would process and beautify the story. Of course, this is also human nature. Boys like to brag, especially in front of pretty girls, let alone in front of 3 very beautiful girls. Ha, now you know that having too many wives is not a good thing, right? Su Yuyu laughed at Xia Tian mercilessly. At this time, Yilan did not laugh at Xia Tian like Su Yuyu did, but was in a state of deep thought. She is already 28 years old this year. If a woman's best time is the golden 10 years from 20 to 30 years old, then she is already at the tail end of a woman's golden age, with only the last 2 years of golden time left. The 28-year-old Yilan is still an old girl until now. It's not that there are no men pursuing her. On the contrary, there are a lot of men of all kinds pursuing her, including many young people from all ages. But Yilan didn't like any of them, and Xia Tian accidentally saved Yilan yesterday. If Xia Tian hadn't acquired the hotel yesterday, Yilan's fate today would be either to resign voluntarily or to succumb to the power of a hotel shareholder, compromise and marry Man Yanqian, who made her sick. So Yilan has a special feeling for this big boy Xia Tian, including gratitude, thankfulness, relief, and many other emotions. Thinking about the situation at home, Yilan bit her cherry lips slightly. At this moment, Song Jia came in to add water for several people. Yilan stopped Song Jia, who was about to leave after adding water, and suddenly made a decision in his heart. Xia Tian, can I call you that? Yilan's voice revealed some unstable emotions and was a little excited. He looked puzzled. Wasn't Yilan always calm and composed? What happened today? But he shrugged and said, didn't I tell you before that you can just call me Xia Tian? After all, my main identity is still a student of Shuimu University. I'm not used to you calling me President Xia. Just calling me Xia Tian is fine. Xia Tian, can I ask you a favor? Yilan looked even stranger. We are all family, so don't ask for anything. Just tell me what you want to say. As long as it's within my ability, everything can be discussed. Although Xia Tian is rich, he is still a soft-hearted and thin-skinned person. He doesn't care about gains and losses as much as rich people. Xia Tian, can you marry me and Song Jia? Yilan's words stunned the 4 people present except her. Xia Tian was even more confused. What was going on? Was her charm so great? Even a female business executive like Yilan took the initiative to bow down before her? Isn't that right? Yilan is the general manager of a 5-star hotel. She is not short of money. She earns millions of dollars a year. Besides, at her age, she can't be a crazy woman. Otherwise, she wouldn't have waited until now. It's impossible that she hasn't met handsome boys in all these years. Even if there is no handsome man like me, there should be some who are a little bit worse than me. So why did she choose to make this request of herself? Why? Xia Tian couldn't figure it out, so he just asked the question in his mind. Yilan looked calm at this moment, and he quickly explained his life experience and the reason why he made this seemingly ridiculous request. Yilan is an illegitimate daughter of the Yi family without a legitimate status. Although the law stipulates that both illegitimate and legitimate children enjoy the same rights, this is impossible to achieve in a large family. In a large family, only legitimate children are recognized and have inheritance rights, while illegitimate children have no human rights in a large family, let alone inheritance rights. It was unfortunate that Yi Lan was such a person. Otherwise, with her status as the daughter of the Yi family, why would she come out to work for others? Although the Yi family was not considered the top wealthy family, five-star hotels like the Imperial Hotel were not uncommon in the Yi family. The Yi family had several hotels of this level. But all this had nothing to do with Yi Lan. The fate of illegitimate daughters like Yi Lan in the Yi family is not very good. Their only role is to arrange marriages for the family and become victims of the family. Of course, the family will also provide her with favorable living conditions before the marriage, that is, to enjoy a high-quality life for more than 10 years, to be a rich girl, to live a life of drunkenness and dreams every day, and then when the family needs her, she will be pushed out to some big man to be a plaything without status. Important figures in large families would intermarry with each other in order to ensure the inheritance rights of their offspring, and they would not take more than one wife, unless they were playboys who had been determined to give up their inheritance rights, in which case it would be fine. Although these big men will not marry multiple wives, they still have many women, but they are not officially recognized. Chapter 86. The Su sisters follow their example. Yi Lan's choice was different from that of others. She rejected the affluent life offered by her family early on. She has been self-reliant since she was a child and did not rely on the family's financial resources. The result was that when her family wanted her to marry, she could stand up straight and firmly reject the family's rude request. However, this kind of rejection has become increasingly difficult to refuse as time goes by, especially since this year. Because Yi Lan was too outstanding and very beautiful, the Yi family even gave up the custom of letting their illegitimate daughter be a woman without a name for others, and wanted Yi Lan to marry Ma Nianchen, the heir of the Ma family, the Yi family's partner. Ma Nianchen fell in love with Yi Lan at first sight and vowed to marry no one else but Yi Lan. Although Yi Lan did not enjoy the preferential treatment of the Yi family, she was still the daughter of the Yi family after all. Now she was not asked to be a woman without a name or status, but to be married to the daughter-in-law of the Ma family. Therefore, the Yi family thought that this request was not excessive and was a special favor to her. Yi Lan should stop while she was ahead and marry Ma Nianchen obediently, so as to consolidate the cooperative relationship between the Yi and Ma families. But Yi Lan rejected it outright. She hated her identity as the illegitimate daughter of the Yi family and had no good feelings towards the entire Yi family. How could she sacrifice herself for the Yi family's marriage? So no matter whether you were Ma Nianchen or Lu Nianchen, she ignored you and rejected you outright. Although the Yi family has no way to deal with Yi Lan, they have a firm grip on Yi Lan's mother. Yi Lan's mother is Yi Lan's only weakness and the person he cares about. Yi Lan's mother was entrusted by the Yi family to persuade Yi Lan to obey the Yi family's arrangements. Yi Lan's mother also felt that Yi Lan was wrong this time and should obey the arrangements of the Yi family. She had already won the identity and status of being married in a formal way, that is, the so-called legal wife. What else did she want? She has been eyeing that position all her life but has never been able to obtain it, while her daughter Yi Lan can easily get it now, but she doesn't know how to cherish this opportunity. Therefore, Yi Lan's mother is always persuading Yi Lan to be obedient and agree to marry Ma Nianchen. Yi Lan has not seen her mother for a long time for this reason, and even went so far as to share a house with Song Jia, who has the same fate as her. Just now, when Xia Tian talked about how Su Rou and Xia Tian were brave enough to go from a fake husband and wife relationship to a real husband and wife relationship, she suddenly had an idea. Why couldn't she just find someone to marry? Wouldn't this solve the root of the entanglement between the Yi family and the Ma family with her? Before, she had also considered finding a random man to have an agreement to marry, but ordinary people simply have no ability to compete with the Yi family and the Ma family. The major shareholder and boss of the hotel was Ma Nianchen from the Ma family. After Yi Lan came to the Dihao Hotel as the general manager, Ma Nianchen acquired the hotel's shares and became the owner of the hotel. An ordinary man cannot compete with the Yi family and the Ma family, but Xia Tian is not an ordinary man. Although she doesn't know how much Xia Tian is worth or the power behind him, from the fact that he was able to easily acquire the Dihao Hotel and make Ma Nianchen surrender, it can be seen that Xia Tian is not an ordinary man. So Yi Lan immediately thought of finding Xia Tian to agree on a marriage. The reason why he dragged Song Jia into it was because apart from being younger than himself, Song Jia was almost in the same boat with him. She was also the illegitimate daughter of the Song family, and her future fate was probably the same as his, so they just used Xia Tian as a shield. After listening to Yilan's explanation, Xia Tian looked strange. No, you are so confident in me? Aren't you afraid that you will just leave the wolf's den and enter the tiger's den? You are so beautiful, aren't you afraid that I will not be able to control myself and eat you up? He. Xia Tian said this deliberately, but to be honest, it is not impossible. Yilan and Song Jia are not worse than Xinwan and the others. As a man, facing such a superb beauty, it is inevitable that he will be distracted and make mistakes. Don't be afraid, I have been the city Sanda champion for 3 consecutive years. Song Jia waved her slender and soft arms. Xia Tian was stunned. This beautiful girl who looked pure and lovely was actually a Tyrannosaurus Rex? It's okay, I don't mind. If you want, I'm willing to be your real wife. Yilan said calmly and shyly, which surprised Xia Tian. Ah? Xia Tian was shocked. Was his charm so great? Was he able to make a female CEO fall for his genes? As long as you promise to help me deal with the Yi family, I am willing to be your real wife. Yilan looked at Xia Tian and said seriously. Really? It's just such a simple request? Xia Tian was puzzled. Yilan acted like she would rather die than surrender to that guy from the Ma family, but when it came to him, she easily agreed to be his real wife. Isn't the contrast a bit too big? It's absolutely true. I can sleep with you tonight. Yilan said seriously. Well, there's no need to rush. Xia Tian backed off. Even though he had 4 wives and a girlfriend, he was still very timid in this regard. Since Sister Lan is willing to be your wife, then I am also willing to be your wife. The conditions are the same as Sister Lan. You just need to help me deal with the Song family in the future. Song Jia immediately changed the subject after seeing Yilan's attitude. Should I agree to this request or not? Xia Tian didn't care much about their conditions. With the system, the Yi and Ma families were nothing in front of him. Sooner or later, he would crush them like ants. He was hesitant because he was already a bit overwhelmed with 4 wives. Now he had 2 more wives with ulterior motives. Could he handle it? Would he still have a peaceful life in the future? The power and strength of the Yi family and the Song family are not weak. I don't blame you if you refuse. Yilan saw Xia Tian's hesitant face and thought that Xia Tian was worried about the gains and losses of dealing with the Yi family and the Song family in the future, so he opened his mouth to make excuses for Xia Tian. Hey, I have a bad temper. Take out your ID card right now and register for marriage right now. How could Xia Tian bear being looked down upon by a woman? He was originally worried that having 2 more wives would make it more difficult for him to deal with these things, but he was misunderstood as being afraid of the Yi family and the Song family. How could he bear this? I don't care about the power of the Yi family and the Song family. I'm just worried that having 2 more wives like you will make me even more overwhelmed. Besides, if I want to marry you, I have to tell my wives and get their permission before I can get the marriage certificate with you. Xia Tian explained. Well, Xia Tian, why don't you marry both of us sisters? You have so many wives now, so it doesn't matter if you have 2 more of us, right? Su Qingqing suddenly said. Chapter 87 decided to marry at the same time. Xia Tian, Yilan, and Song Jia here haven't got their marriage certificate yet, and the 2 sisters of the Su family over there also expressed their desire to marry Xia Tian. Xia Tian was confused, and Yilan and Song Jia were also puzzled. They both decided to marry Xia Tian because they were resisting the family's marriage, wanting to have an independent life, and to deal with the family that they hated. But why did the 2 sisters of the Su family decide to marry Xia Tian at the same time? It can only be said that life is full of different situations, and every family has its own problems. The 2 sisters of the Su family also made the decision after careful consideration. Because of their outstanding looks, they inherited their grandfather Su Difu's superb cooking skills, so there are also many men who are eyeing them. In particular, their gambling father has been thinking about marrying off his 2 daughters so that he can collect a large sum of money for gambling. Therefore, the 2 sisters of the Su family fought with their gambling father for this matter countless times. If their grandfather had not been still lying on the hospital bed, barely hanging on to his last breath, suppressing their gambling father and preventing him from taking any tough measures for the time being, otherwise the 2 sisters would have been sold out by their gambling father countless times. Their grandfather Su Difu has been terminally ill for a long time, and is just biding his time on the hospital bed. He may die at any time. Once the old man is gone, no one will be able to suppress their gambler father's evil deeds. Then the two sisters will probably be immediately engaged by their gambler father. He will definitely collect the betrothal money from others as soon as possible. Even if the two sisters do not marry, they will have to bear the huge debt of the betrothal money for their gambler father. It would be better for me to get married now, so that their grandfather can fulfill his wish before he passes away. The reason why the old man is still holding on is because he has not seen his two precious granddaughters find a suitable home. This is the biggest regret that the old man is thinking about before he leaves. So when they saw Yilan and Song Jia bravely choose to marry Xia Tian at the same time in order to avoid the fate of a family marriage, the two sisters also had the same idea. Xia Tian is at least handsome and pleasing to the eye, he is very rich, and he is also a top student at Shuimu University. From yesterday to today, I can feel that he is sincere and honest, so no matter from which aspect, he is a good match. This is also because of the examples and beginnings set by Yilan and Song Jia, so they don't feel embarrassed about things that were originally embarrassing for them. After listening to the two sisters' stories, Yilan and Song Jia felt very sympathetic towards their experiences. After all, they were both stranded in the world. What else could Xia Tian say? Since the other party had given such a reason, could he refuse them? Of course not. So he waved his hand to show that he agreed to everything and agreed. But his agreement alone is not enough, because he is already married, so remarriage requires the consent of all his previous wives. Of course, he could also skip the opinions of Shenwan and other wives who had obtained marriage certificates like he did last time, but then he would face the risk of Shenwan and the others not agreeing to his remarrying. If they did not forgive him, they would have no choice but to end up in divorce. The reason why Xia Tian ignored Shenwan and Su Ro's opinions and got married with Guya and Lu Xian was because Xia Tian misunderstood Shenwan and Su Ro at that time, and was about to divorce them immediately, so he didn't care. But we can't do that now. Mutual respect between husband and wife is definitely essential. However, Xia Tian has a headache about this matter. How should he tell Shenwan and the others? He started by saying that he wanted to marry again, and 4 wives at once. I guess Shenwan and the other 4 would explode before he could even finish his words. What to do? Ahem, there is no problem on my side, and the quota is not a problem either. But I am married, so if I want to get a marriage certificate with you, I must get the consent of my wives. Xia Tian told the truth. Of course, Yilan and the other 4 were very clear about this situation and knew what the conditions for remarriage were. So you have to wait for me, I need to report to them and get their consent before. Xia Tian hadn't finished speaking yet, but at this moment, Su Qingqing's phone suddenly rang. Su Qingqing took out her phone and took a look. It was a call from the hospital, and her heart suddenly tightened. Ever since Mr. Su Difu was hospitalized, the two sisters have been carrying their cell phones with them almost 24 hours a day. Every time they receive a call from the hospital, they become frightened, fearing that there may be bad news. Hello, Qingqing, the old man is in the emergency room. You and Yu should come to the hospital right away. Mother Su's voice came from the phone, and her words made Su Qingqing's face turn pale. What's wrong? Su Yu asked her sister anxiously. Grandpa is in the emergency room. Let's go to the hospital quickly. Su Qingqing said to her sister in a panic. Although she had prepared herself mentally since her grandfather was admitted to the hospital and knew that this day would come sooner or later, she still found it difficult to face it calmly. Xia Tian also stopped talking. It would be inappropriate to talk about getting a marriage certificate now. The other person's grandfather has already been in the emergency room. Nothing can compare to this matter. Xia Tian didn't have time to think about it. Come on, I'll take you to the hospital. He picked up his cell phone and car keys, stood up and walked out. Don't worry, the old man will be fine. Come on, I'll go with you to visit him. Yilan looked at the two sisters of the Su family who turned pale in an instant, and he and Song Jia each supported one of them and comforted them softly. The two sisters of the Su family did not argue with the others at this time. Their condition was not suitable for driving at the moment, so it was a good thing that Xia Tian could take them there. The Maybach sped along the way. This is the advantage of having luxury cars on the road. Other cars in front, behind, left and right are all far away from it, for fear of hitting a luxury car. The cost of this is not something ordinary people can afford. The two sisters of the Su family held each other's hands tightly, so as to give each other strength. The younger sister Su Yu couldn't hold back her tears a long time ago, and the elder sister Su Qingqing's eyes were also moist, and her heart was in a knot, because the doctor had said before that if Grandpa went to the emergency room again, the chances of saving him would be basically zero. Chapter 88 Marry 4 More Wives. The Maybach quickly drove to the hospital and parked casually on the side of the road in front of the door. Xia Tian, Yilan, and Song Jia accompanied the two sisters of the Su family into the hospital. Now that they had arrived at the hospital entrance, it would be unreasonable not to go in and visit the elderly. When stepping onto the hospital steps, Su Qingqing suddenly turned to Xia Tian as if she had made a decision and said, "Xia Tian, can you marry us and get the certificate now?" I don't think my grandfather will get through this, so I don't want him to leave with regrets." Su Qingqing could no longer hold back her tears at this moment, and tears streamed down her face. "As for your wife, I will go and explain to them in person. If they insist on not agreeing, we will take the initiative to divorce, okay?" Su Qingqing looked at Xia Tian with a pleading face. Su Yuyu also looked at Xia Tian with anticipation. She completely agreed with her sister's suggestion, and she still remembered the doctor's instructions clearly. After hesitating for 3 seconds, Xia Tian resolutely nodded and agreed. Faced with this situation, he didn't know how to refuse. Besides, the old man was about to leave. If he didn't agree, the old man might really leave with regret. ID card. He glanced at Yilan and Songjia, thinking that there didn't seem to be much difference between 2 and 4, and gritted his teeth. "You guys come too." Xia Tian took out his cell phone and the girls did the same. Registering for a marriage certificate is now very convenient and simple. It only takes a minute or two on the phone. The 5 people took out their phones and performed some operations on their phones. Then Xia Tian took a photo with each of them and submitted the marriage application. Almost in seconds, Xia Tian had 4 more wives, and the electronic marriage certificates for the 4 of them, including Yilan, were also generated at the same time. Looking at the electronic marriage certificates of each of them and Xia Tian on their phones, Su Qingqing and her sister Su Yuyu also showed a look of relief on their faces. They had finally fulfilled their grandfather's wish. After calming down, they walked towards the operating room upstairs. When they arrived outside the operating room, there was a middle-aged woman who looked extremely haggard standing at the door. She was relieved to see Su Qingqing and her sister appear, and at the same time said to the two sisters in great sorrow, "Qingqing, you, be mentally prepared. The doctor has just said that he has tried his best, and the old man will come out soon. Let's tell him anything as soon as possible, because he doesn't have much time left." The middle-aged woman choked up and couldn't continue. Mom. Su Qingqing and her sister cried out almost at the same time and went up to hug the middle-aged woman. The 3 of them burst into tears together. Yilan also heard the general idea, and went up to persuade them repeatedly, "Auntie, Qingqing, you must be strong now. The old man will come out soon. If you cry like this, the old man will be worried about dying. You must hold back now." Hearing this, the middle-aged woman immediately suppressed her grief, and Su Qingqing and her sister also stopped crying. "Mom, I forgot to introduce them to you. These are our good sisters Yilan and Songjia." Su Qingqing introduced Yilan and Songjia to her mother, then pulled Xia Tian between herself and her sister and introduced him to her mother. "This is Xia Tian, he is the husband of Yuyu and me." Su Qingqing still felt a little embarrassed to introduce Xia Tian like this in front of her mother. Mother Su's expression was obviously stagnant. She was stunned. When did her 2 precious daughters get married? How come she, as a mother, didn't know anything about it? The key point is that the 2 sisters married the same man at the same time? Then Mother Su immediately understood. A big worry for the old man of the Su family is that he didn't get to see his 2 precious granddaughters' lifelong affairs resolved. Early this morning, the old man was still muttering that he would not be able to rest in peace until he died. And now the 2 daughters have brought this handsome young man here. It should be that the 2 sisters have specially found a tool to fulfill the old man's wish in order to let their grandfather pass away peacefully. After figuring out the whole story, Mother Su simply nodded at Xia Tian and stopped paying attention to this boy. "Have you called him to inform him?" Su Qingqing suddenly asked Mother Su in a cold tone. "I had already called to inform you before calling you, but he hasn't come back yet." Mother Su knew who her daughter was asking about, and answered helplessly. As they were talking, the door of the operating room was opened from the inside, and then a bed was pushed out by a nurse. Family members of Su Difu. The 3 members of the Su family immediately gathered around him. Looking at the extremely frail old man lying on the hospital bed, the mother and the 3 of them suppressed their grief and shouted, "Grandpa, Grandpa!" After Su Qingqing and Su Yuyu shouted to the old man on the hospital bed, they were unable to speak again due to sadness. They were afraid that they would cry if they opened their mouths again. Just as the Su family was busy pushing the old man to the ward, Xia Tian, who was walking last, heard his cell phone ring as expected. Xia Tian was startled. What was supposed to come would come, but wasn't it too fast? It had only been less than 3 minutes and the phone rang. Looking at the name Su Ro on the caller ID with a wry smile, Xia Tian made up his mind, walked into the aisle and answered the call. Hello, wife. Xia Tian had just answered the phone when Su Ro on the other end interrupted him coldly. Stop, I don't deserve it. Don't call me that anymore. You don't have time today, do you? After all, you just got married today, and you're probably busy with your wedding night tonight, right? Let's find some time to get a divorce tomorrow. Wife, don't be angry yet. My situation is a little special. I promise it's not what you think. I can't explain it in a few words. Anyway, I remarried this time to help others and to fulfill an old man's dying wish. I had to help. I'm in the hospital now, and the old man doesn't have much time left. I have to go over to help. I don't have time to explain to you. When I'm done with things here, I promise to rush back and explain everything to you as soon as possible. I'm hanging up now. Xia Tian hung up the phone without waiting for Su Ro to reply, because another call came in right after that, and the number on it was Lu Xian. He said the same words to Lu Xian, and then Xia Tian rushed to the ward. He was also busy showing off in front of the old man of the Su family as the grandson-in-law. Chapter 89: The Su family's desolation. The old man's eyes were cloudy, and he didn't respond to his family's concern and greetings for a long time. It was not until he was pushed into the ward and drank a sip of water that he recognized the two granddaughters in front of him as if awakened from a dream. Qingqing, Yuyu. The old man looked up at everyone in the ward, but he didn't see the unfilial son. He looked a little sad and laughed at himself. What was he expecting? He knew what kind of person the unfilial son was. What was he expecting from him? The old man's gaze stayed on Xia Tian for a while, and then he sighed slightly. This young man was very handsome, but it was a pity that he was not his grandson-in-law. An unfilial son is just a pile of mud. The future of the Su family still depends on the two granddaughters. Alas, what a pity. My body is not good enough and I can't wait for that day. Grandpa, let me introduce him to you. His name is Xia Tian, a top student at Shuimu University, and the husband of both Yuyu and me. This is our marriage certificate. After Su Qingqing saw that the old man had regained consciousness, she immediately introduced Xia Tian's identity to the old man and took out the electronic marriage certificate of herself and Xia Tian for the old man to see. The old man, who had just come to his senses, was stunned. What he had been thinking about was the lifelong event of his two granddaughters. Although it was somewhat uncomfortable for two granddaughters to marry the same person at the same time, with the development of society, it was not unacceptable for two sisters to marry the same person at the same time. Compared with the two granddaughters being single, this point can be completely ignored. Moreover, the old man also knew that his unfilial son had been planning to marry off his two granddaughters in order to collect a large sum of dowry. That bastard didn't care who the other party was, as long as he gave his granddaughter to whoever gave the largest dowry. Only as long as he was still alive could he suppress that unfilial son from doing anything reckless. If he left, his two granddaughters would definitely be in dire straits. Now, he can finally rest assured. Now that his granddaughters are married, even if he passes away soon, he no longer has to worry about his two granddaughters being used as a tool for that unfilial son to make money. This can be regarded as a big relief for him. Then the three of grandfather and grandson talked for a long time. The old man was more talkative at this time. Not only did he talk a lot, he also ate something and drank some water. He looked as if he was getting better, but it was only the last bit of his life. Mother Su thought that the old man was well again, so she went out to ask the doctor while the two Su sisters were talking to the old man. The doctor came in and took a look and said, "If you have anything you want to say, tell me now." Then he shook his head, sighed, and left. The doctor's words were almost a death sentence for the old man. The two sisters turned pale, and Su Yuyu burst into tears instantly. Although Su Qingqing's eyes were also red, she quickly suppressed her sadness and showed a big smile to the old man. Instead, the old man himself had a smiling face, as if he had seen through everything and looked indifferent. Birth, old age, sickness, and death are not under our control. After the doctor left, the door of the ward was suddenly pushed open from the outside, and two middle-aged people, a man and a woman, rushed in. Seeing the old man lying on the bed in high spirits, the middle-aged man yelled at Mother Sue as soon as he came in, "What are your intentions, you bitch? The old man is obviously still here, how dare you say he is about to die? You bitch." As soon as the middle-aged man came in and saw that the old man was fine, he immediately vented his anger at Mother Sue. Originally, he was somewhat happy when he heard that the old man was going to pass away soon. Now he could finally accept the betrothal money from Brother Biao and Mr. Rin with confidence. This way, he could live a carefree life for a long time. But when he came in, he saw the old man sitting on the bed. The man immediately realized that he had been cheated and immediately scolded Mother Sue in anger. Mother Sue felt very aggrieved and depressed, but she was used to accepting everything, so she just hid aside and cried silently. "You rebellious son, worse than a beast, and you still have the nerve to scold others? You, get down on your knees." The old man's rosy face turned pale and weak, and he pointed at the middle-aged man and cursed with trembling hands. "Old man, take it easy. You have the three of them to take care of you. I have something else to do outside, so I'll leave first. I'll come see you another day." The middle-aged man turned around and wanted to leave the ward without even stopping. The old man put too much pressure on him. After all, he was brought up harshly with a belt since he was a child, and he instinctively felt a fear of the old man. "Rebellious son, I am almost dying. Please wait a moment before leaving. I have something to say." The old man took a deep breath and tried hard to control his emotions. He knew that he didn't have much time left, and there were some things he had to explain clearly in front of this evil son. The man who had already stepped out of the ward stopped again. He looked at the old man with doubt, trying to confirm whether the other party was real or lying to him. "Don't doubt it. My mother will call you only because the doctor has given the notice. Otherwise, even if you die outside, we don't want to see you at all," Su Qingqing said coldly to the middle-aged man. After hearing what his daughter Su Qingqing said, Su Shui, the middle-aged man, returned to the ward. Looking at the old man lying on the bed, he recalled all the past events. Was the old man really going to die? Although he had many complaints and dissatisfactions with the old man, blood was thicker than water after all, and he still felt a little upset. Su Difu, who was once very popular and had the cooking skills of imperial court dishes, was finally going to fall into desolation. Really? A look of regret and sadness finally appeared on Su Shui's face. He originally thought that he would not feel any sadness about the old man's death. He would only be happy that finally no one could check him and he could finally do whatever he wanted. But he didn't expect that after seeing that familiar face and figure, he would feel sad towards the old man whom he hated so much before. "Don't worry, this old man will only waste your time for a little while in this life, and will never bother you from doing evil again." Su Difu looked at this unfilial son sadly. He was too lazy to argue with him anymore. The biggest failure in his life was that he had such a bastard gambler son. This was something he would never be able to let go of in his entire life. Now that he was about to leave, he could not care less. Just let him go in the future. Everyone had their own destiny, and there was nothing he could do. "This is Qingqing and Yu Yu's husband. Please meet him first. His name is Xia Tian, and he is a top student at Shuimu University." The old man pointed at Xia Tian and said to his rebellious son Su Shui. "What? Husband? How come I don't know about this?" "No, I don't agree to this marriage. Without my permission, I won't agree to this marriage." Su Shui jumped up like a cat whose tail was stepped on, and tried his best to express his opposition. "Whether you agree or not is of no use. I'm just informing you that Qingqing and Yu are now married. You should stop disturbing the lives of the two sisters. Just live your own life freely from now on. If you like to gamble, go ahead. No one will care about you anymore." Su Difu said calmly. "How can I do that? I have already promised Brother Biao and Mr. Rin that I will marry Qingqing and Yu to them. The betrothal gifts have been prepared. How can I go back on my word? How can I pay off my gambling debts if I go back on my word?" In desperation, Su Shui told the truth. "What? You want to use Qingqing and Yu to pay off your gambling debts?" Mother Su had been timid and silent at first, but after hearing what her husband Su Shui said, she finally couldn't bear it anymore and stood up bravely to question. "What's your business here?" Su Shui, who was feeling a little guilty for accidentally letting the cat out of the bag, stood up again instantly after facing the questioning from Su's mother. "You want to sell us sisters to pay off the debt you owe? Dream on. We will never agree to it even if we die. Su Yuyu looked at the nominal biological father of her and her sisters with flaming eyes. There was no trace of affection in his eyes, only endless hatred. Rebellious son. Are you trying to piss me off to death? How much gambling debt do you owe to others? The old man felt helpless. He didn't want to leave unrest in his family before he left, especially not letting this rebellious son harm his two granddaughters again. What gambling debt? That's the betrothal money. Brother Biao and Mr. Ren are both wealthy men. It's a blessing for you two girls that they like you two girls. You two can enjoy a good life when you marry them. I'm your father, how can I harm you? Su Shuyi argued cunningly. Rebellious son, just tell me how much money you owe and stop talking nonsense. The old man interrupted Su Shuyi's attempt to cover up his mistake. It's just less than 10 million. Don't worry, Dad. Our Qingqing and Yuyu are definitely worth this price. Brother Biao and Mr. Rin also agree with this price. As long as Qingqing and Yuyu are willing to marry them, they can forgive all my debts and even give me some extra money. With this money, I can make a comeback. Maybe I can even make a lot of money, and even win back our hotel. Su Shuyi said with a beaming eyebrow, and couldn't help revealing a look of longing. 10 million? Ha, you are so proud that you can actually owe so much money. But if you want to marry, go ahead and marry me. Yuyu and I will definitely not marry you. You'd better give up this idea as soon as possible. Su Qingqing said coldly. Qingqing, don't be so resistant. Dad is really doing this for your two good. Brother Biao and Mr. Ren are both big bosses. They are not short of money. Moreover, they are willing to give out 5 million each as a dowry for the two of you. They also like you very much. If you marry them, you will be rich wives and enjoy a life of luxury. How could Dad harm you? Su Shuyi tried to change his two daughters' minds with words. Go and get married yourself. If you want us to marry those two gangsters, then you can just dream on. Su Yuyu said hatefully. Qingqing, Yuyu, you can't be like this. I raised you with great difficulty since you were little, and now that you have grown up, you have become so heartless that you don't even listen to me, your father? Su Shuyi started to play the family card. You? Ha, don't you feel ashamed to say that? Don't you know what kind of person you are? From childhood to adulthood, when have you ever taken care of us two sisters? Su Yuyu immediately retorted. If you don't agree to marry Brother Biao and Mr. Rin, they will find someone to kill your father. A middle-aged woman who had been silent all this time suddenly spoke up. That's great. This way, there will be one less scourge in the world. You should let them do it quickly. Su Yuyu sneered. Why don't you just marry him? It's okay for a woman to serve two husbands. Su Yuyu said to the middle-aged woman. A big reason why Su Shuyi has become what he is now is because of this woman, so it would be strange if he could have a good face towards her, Su Yuyu. Yuyu and I have already obtained our marriage certificate. I'm afraid your wishful thinking will be dashed. Su Qingqing said calmly. No, I don't agree with your marriage, it doesn't count. You two should divorce this guy immediately and marry Brother Biao and Mr. Ren. Su Shuyi looked fierce and glared at Xia Tian viciously. Boy, my daughters are not so easy to marry. Either you divorce my two daughters now, or give me a betrothal gift of 20 million right now, otherwise, don't even think about marrying my two daughters. Originally, Su Difu asked about his son's gambling debts so that he could help him pay them off before he left, so that he could have a chance to start a new life. But when he heard his son say 10 million, Su Difu gave up the idea of helping his son pay off his debts. If it had been in the past, before the family fell into decline, it would not have been difficult for him to come up with 10 million. But now, the Su family has been tossed around by the sun and is now just an empty shell. Now the entire Su family is supported by the two sisters of the Su family, and it has long lost its former glory. Unfilial son, find a way to settle your gambling debts by yourselves. Don't set your sights on Qingqing and Yuyu, and don't disturb the lives of the young couple. This is my last words. If you don't obey, I will come to you every day even if I die. I still have my last 1 million, you can do whatever you want with it. From now on, the Su family will pretend that there is no unfilial son like you. Su Difu tremblingly took out a passbook from his small bag and handed it to his gambling son Su Shuyi. This was the last bit of hope. If he could turn back and use the 1 million to do business, he might be able to pay off the 10 million gambling debts. It all depends on his choice. Su Shuyi was overjoyed. He picked up the passbook and immediately put it into his pocket, holding it tightly with both hands, as if he was afraid that the passbook would fly away. Su Yuyu wanted to say something but was stopped by Su Qingqing. It was Grandpa's own decision and they, as granddaughters, just had to respect it. Mother Qingqing, you have been taking care of an old man like me all these years. Even if you have no credit, you have worked hard. Here is 100,000 yuan, a little gift from me. Take it, Mother Qingqing. Su Defu began to arrange the funeral. Chapter 90 Meeting Each Other. Xia Tian originally didn't want to get involved in other people's family affairs, but before getting the marriage certificate, the two sisters of the Su family had already agreed on it. The first reason was to fulfill their grandfather's wish, and the second one was to deal with their gambling father. So even if he didn't want to get involved in this matter now, he had no choice. Give me my green army bag, the old man motioned to his granddaughter to take one of his green army bags. After putting it in her arms, she said tremblingly, Qingqing and Yuyu, Grandpa has no money to leave for you two now. I only have this recipe book passed down from our Su family's ancestors for you too. You won't blame Grandpa, will you? Su Defu took out a yellowed recipe book from his bag and handed it to the sisters Su Qingqing and Su Yuyu. The two sisters had tears in their eyes and shook their heads to indicate that they didn't mind. They patted their two granddaughters' hands with satisfaction and then looked at Xia Tian who was standing beside them. Xia Tian, come to Grandpa. The old man waved to Xia Tian to come to him, and then put the hands of his two granddaughters in Xia Tian's hands. From now on, Qingqing and Yuyu will be left to your care. Protect the two girls and don't let them get hurt. These two sets of green grandmother jewelry handed down from Grandpa are given to you as a gift. The old man is still very knowledgeable. You can't tell that there are so many good things in a tattered green military bag. Watching Grandpa Su dividing the property, Xia Tian knew that the old man didn't have much time left, so he didn't refuse the old man's kindness. He thought that he would give the things to the two sisters of the Su family later. He guessed that the old man also planned so, and he was just going to pass it on through his hands. Grandpa, don't worry. I won't let anyone hurt Qingqing and Yuyu. Xia Tian could feel the old man's concern for his two granddaughters and assured him again and again. The woman with Su Shuyi looked at the two sets of jewelry with her eyes shining. There is no woman who doesn't like such precious jewelry. She pinched Su Shuyi beside her and nodded at the jewelry, indicating that she wanted it. The green emerald jewelry is an heirloom of our Su family. How can you just give it to an outsider? I am the heir of the Su family. When Su Shuyi saw the old man take out two sets of jewelry that were obviously extraordinary, he immediately looked at the two sets of jewelry with envy. The green emerald jewelry is quite valuable, especially the set of jewelry handed down from his ancestors, which is priceless. It is much more valuable than the 1 million given to him by the old man. Shut up, you have no place to talk here. Old Master Su glared at him. Although it was the last moment of his life, he was still very majestic, causing Su Shuyi to shrink his neck and dare not say anything more. The woman glared at Su Shuyi with some disappointment. This man was such a waste. The old man was about to die, but he was still so afraid. What a waste! Grandpa, no matter what, Shuyi is the male of the Su family. These heirloom jewelry. The woman gritted her teeth and fought for the ownership of the two sets of jewelry for Su Shuyi. Only if Su Shuyi could get them, then they would be hers. When the time comes, she could sell one set and wear another set herself. Hee, just thinking about it made her happy. Unfortunately, before she could finish her words, old Master Su ignored her and continued to say to Xia Tian, our family is unfortunate because we have a prodigal son who lost our signature shop. The two girls refused to listen and insisted on restoring the shop. I said it was unnecessary and not to put too much pressure on the two girls. Just forget it if it can't be done. Old Master Su kept talking to Xia Tian about these things. Although he said forget it, even Xia Tian could clearly feel the expectation in his eyes. Grandpa, I didn't have the chance to tell you that our shop is back. It was bought back by Xia Tian. Now the shop belongs to our Su family again. Su Qingqing glanced at Xia Tian, a pleading look flashed across her eyes, and she turned to Grandpa Su and said, Really? Upon hearing this, Grandpa Su's eyes lit up. This was the ancestral property, which was almost mad to death when his prodigal son lost it in gambling. The originally healthy old man became bedridden and is now terminally ill, all because of this incident. Now he hears his granddaughter say that his former shop is back, and although it is in the hands of his grandson-in-law, it is still his own thing. Now he can really rest in peace. The old man looked at Xia Tian, wanting to confirm the truth of the news. Grandpa, look, is this the property certificate of the store? Xia Tian took out a photo of the Su Ji private restaurant property certificate that he had taken with his mobile phone and showed it to Grandpa Su. Old Master Su looked carefully and found that it was indeed his ancestral property that was lost in gambling by his prodigal son. This time it was really returned. Grandpa, I have decided to transfer the ownership of Su's private restaurant to Qingqing and Yuyu. It can also be regarded as our wedding gift. Xia Tian looked at the old man, glanced at the two sisters of the Su family, and suddenly said, "This restaurant is obviously of great significance to the Su family. It is nothing to him, but it is not ordinary to Grandpa Su and the two sisters of the Su family, so he made a temporary decision. In this way, I think the two sisters Su Qingqing and Su Yuyu will not leave me easily in the future. Although they just used me as a shield at the beginning, now that they have already registered their marriage with me, I have absolutely no reason to let go of these two beautiful women. And this is the green emerald gem jewelry that my grandfather gave me. There's just one set for each of you. Come, let me put them on you." Xia Tian picked up the two sets of jewelry and put them on the two sisters Su Qingqing and Su Yuyu in front of Grandpa Su. Mr. Su was obviously very satisfied. His mouth was cracked with joy. He held Xia Tian's hand and said, ho ho." Mr. Su was too excited because of his joy. As a result, he couldn't say what he wanted to say. He made hoarse sounds in his mouth and couldn't utter any words. The deadline has come. Mr. Su's last glimmer of hope has come to an end. Now, because of excitement, it's time. But logically, he should be able to die with a smile on his face, but now he is holding Xia Tian's hand and won't let go. There is phlegm in his throat and he can't speak. He looks like he will die with his eyes open. Don't worry, Grandpa. I will transfer Su Ji private restaurant to Qingqing and Yuyu in the future. I will never go back on my word, Xia Tian said to the old man. Xia Tian thought that the old man was worried that he would transfer Su Ji private restaurant to his two granddaughters, so he made the promise. But after Xia Tian said this, old man Su did not let go, but held on even tighter. Xia Tian was stunned. What did this mean? He had to turn around by himself now? But he couldn't turn around in this ward by himself. Grandpa, I will go to the government office early tomorrow morning to give it to Qingqing and Yuyu. Don't worry, Xia Tian assured again. But Mr. Su didn't let go and still held Xia Tian tightly. What did this mean? Was he still not satisfied? Su Qingqing and Su Yuyu were also confused. They wondered what else Grandpa was worried about. Although the two of them wanted to object to Xia Tian's transfer of ownership of Su's private restaurant to them, they could not accept such a big gift for nothing. However, thinking that Grandpa was about to leave, they did not want to reject Xia Tian's kindness under such circumstances, so they did not object. Mother Su stepped forward at this time, looked at Mr. Su's expression of unwillingness, sighed slightly, and said, "The old man doesn't want you to transfer Su's private restaurant to Qingqing and Yuyu." Huh? What's going on? Isn't the old man obsessed with his own restaurant? Now that he is transferring it to the two sisters of the Su family for free, why is he still unwilling? Not only Xia Tian was confused, but even the two sisters Su Qingqing and Su Yuyu were also in a state of confusion. And sure enough, after hearing what Mother Su said, Grandpa Su let go of Xia Tian's hand, which he had been holding tightly. It turned out to be what she meant. Mother Su glanced at Su Shuyi, who was watching all this with his eyes rolling around, and explained to the three of them, although the old man wants the ancestral property to return to the Su family, he doesn't want anything unexpected to happen to it. The best case scenario is that the ancestral property is in your hands, Xia Tian, and Qingqing and Yuyu manage it. This way, no accidents will happen, and other people will have no reason to take the ancestral property. This other person is obviously the gambling addict father of Su Qingqing and the others. What nonsense are you talking about, bitch? The old man obviously wants the ancestral property to return to our family. What are you talking about? You vicious woman, do you want the old man to die with his eyes wide open? Su Shuyi was immediately furious. As long as the ancestral property returned to his two daughters, he had 1,000 ways to buy these assets again. But if it was in Xia Tian's hands, it would not be so convenient for him to do so. No one paid any attention to Su Shuyi, the gambler. Grandpa, then I won't turn around? Xia Tian said tentatively to Grandpa Su. Sure enough, after hearing what Xia Tian said, Mr. Su, who had a look of dismay on his face, regained his composure, let go of his hands, and had a calm look with no regrets. He tilted his head and left. When the Su family members saw this, they burst into tears. Su Shuyi, who had wanted to pester them, suddenly couldn't say anything anymore. Looking at the old man passing away, he was annoyed and looked at Mother Su with hatred. It was all because of this bitch who ruined his good fortune. But then I thought, this guy named Xia Tian seems to be very rich. He also bought back his own restaurant. Maybe he wanted to pursue his two daughters? He was able to buy the restaurant from Mr. Ren, so he must be very powerful. Even Mr. Ren had to sell the restaurant. So, this good son-in-law should be more powerful than Mr. Ren. Next comes the morning. Xia Tian is now nominally the husband of Su Qingqing and Su Yuyu, so he is the only man besides his gambling father-in-law. Of course, he has to step up and take care of this matter, but how can he do these things? He has never experienced it and doesn't know what to do. Fortunately, Yilan and Song Jia were there. The only thing Xia Tian had was money. Yilan called a lot of people who were in charge of funeral affairs. Professional matters were left to professionals, and things immediately became organized. They took Mr. Su back home, set up a mourning hall at the door, and began to prepare for his funeral. During this time, Lu Xian's call finally arrived as expected. In fact, he had already received several messages in the ward. However, in that environment, Xia Tian only replied that he would explain to them later. Xia Tian did not explain to them for such a long time, but could not help but call to ask about the situation. Xia Tian thought about it and decided to stop hiding it. He sent the location to Shenwan, Suro, Guya, and Lu Xian at the same time. He should be able to explain it easily in such a scenario. Besides, it would not be easy for the four of them to settle accounts with him in such an occasion, right? Xia Tian knew that Shenwan and the other three were reasonable people, but in the final analysis, he was the one who was unethical first and married 4 more wives without informing them. It was normal for the 4 of them to be angry. In the final analysis, he was the one who was unreasonable first. It didn't take long for Shenwan and the other 3 to arrive outside the Su family, and Shenwan and Guya, the 2 opponents, finally faced each other again. They looked at each other, but no one spoke. Because they were all confused when looking at the mourning hall in front of them, and couldn't figure out what this kid Xia Tian was up to. Why did he let them come to someone else's funeral? What did this have to do with him having 4 wives? The 4 of them worked their brains at high speed, but they couldn't figure out a reason. Without rushing in, Su Rou and Lu Xian called Xia Tian at the same time. Xia Tian looked at the phone, did not answer it, and ran out immediately. Sure enough, he saw Shenwan and the other 4 people had already come to the door. He gritted his teeth and went to meet them shamelessly, but this time the 4 girls did not give him a good look. Even Shenwan and Guya, who were always calm and composed, had cold faces. Leading the 4 people into the Su family, Xia Tian pointed at the portrait of Mr. Su in the mourning hall and said, "The old man is the grandfather of Su Qingqing and Su Yuyu. He just passed away in the hospital." Next, Xia Tian began to explain to the 4 people what happened today. Of course, it was half true and half false. In his story, he stepped forward to help because Mr. Su had been worried about the lifelong affairs of the 2 sisters of the Su family before he passed away. In order to help the 2 sisters fulfill Mr. Su's wish and let the old man pass away in peace. What about the other 2 named Yilan and Song Jia? If I remember correctly, Yilan is the general manager of the Dihao Hotel we met last time, right? She is also the granddaughter of Mr. Su, and she also has a critically ill grandfather? Guya's voice rang out, leaving Xia Tian speechless. Ahem, well, the 2 of them. Xia Tian was thinking about how to explain the situation to them, but a knock on the door interrupted him. When Xia Tian got up and opened the door, he was stunned. Standing outside the door were Su Qingqing and Su Yuyu, Yilan, and Song Jia. Xia Tian was stunned. What was this about? A big fight? This word came to his mind in an instant. Xia Tian, let's do the explanation ourselves. Can you help go to my mother in front to check on her? She may not be able to handle it alone. Su Qingqing said to Xia Tian. The 8 people know each other's identities because each of their electronic marriage certificates has the other's information and photo on the back. But Xia Tian was a little worried. He was afraid that a big war would break out between the 2 sides as soon as he left. Go see your mother-in-law, and we'll talk about it ourselves. Shenwan also said to Xia Tian. Xia Tian left the room anxiously, leaving the 8 wives to talk behind closed doors. Xia Tian was feeling uneasy. Mother Su looked at Xia Tian and asked curiously, "Xiao Tian, who are those 4 pretty girls you brought in just now? Do you know Qingqing and the others?" By the way, Auntie, where is Uncle? Why can't I see him? Xia Tian changed the subject. As for him, he must have gone somewhere to gamble with the 1 million that the old man just gave him. Who knows? Mother Su was already extremely disappointed with Su Shuyi and no longer had any hope for him. No way? Grandpa Su just passed away and the funeral hasn't been taken care of yet. As a son, he is such a piece of shit. Xia Tian just cursed him as a piece of shit in the end. Xia Tian didn't know this cheap father-in-law very well, but judging from what he had done in the hospital before, he was definitely not a good person. Chapter 91, Shocking Words. This time, Mother Su and Xia Tian really guessed wrong. The two were just talking when they saw a lot of people rushing in from outside. Each of them looked ferocious and scoundrel-like, and it was obvious at first glance that they were not good people. Mother Su's face changed and she instinctively shrank back out of fear. Xia Tian was also stunned. Who are these people? Are you here looking for trouble? Oh, it's actually true this time, old Su really passed away. A young gangster who looked like a gang leader came out, looked at the mourning hall, and knocked on it with a stick. What are you doing? Xia Tian frowned and took a step forward to block Mother Su behind him. It was obvious that these people came with bad intentions. Xia Tian compared them and found that there were at least 20 or 30 people on the other side. Even if his body had been strengthened by the system, it was impossible for him to fight so many people alone. Besides, the old man's body was still warm, so it would be a bit inappropriate to fight. It is better not to fight if possible. Hey, Su Shuyi, your wife found a little brother-in-law for you? Ah. Ha ha ha, these people spoke dirty words casually. As he spoke, Su Shuyi walked out timidly like a pug. The woman who had been following Su Shuyi was now being held in the arms of a middle-aged man, with one of his hands blatantly inserted into her clothes on her chest. Although the woman looked humiliated, she did not dare to resist at all. What do you want to do? Xia Tian automatically filtered out the other party's dirty words and frowned at him. He looked around and had already spotted the baseball bat in a boy's hand. If a fight really broke out, he had to find a weapon first. You have no right to speak here, kid, you'd better shut up. Su Shuyi, this is your wife, right? She's well maintained. By the way, where are your two beautiful twin daughters? The middle-aged man pushed the woman in his arms away and looked at the still charming figure of Mother Su with a lustful look on his face. Without saying anything, Su Shuyi yelled at Su's mother, "Bitch, didn't you hear what Brother Biao said? Where are Qing Qing and Yu Yu? Call them out quickly." Xia Tian sighed slightly. It seemed that there was no way to resolve this matter today. Mother Su was already trembling all over, obviously very scared. She quietly sent a message to Shenwan, "There is a group of people coming to cause trouble, call the police for help." Tell me what you have to say. Xia Tian stood up and said to the middle-aged man who was obviously the leader of this group. You? Who do you think you are? Get out of the way and don't get in the way of my big brother. The young gangster spat on the ground, looked at Xia Tian with disdain and cursed. Did you grow up eating feces? Or did your mother never teach you to speak properly? Since there was no way to resolve the issue peacefully, Xia Tian was not a coward and would scold without hesitation. Wow, you're quite brave, boy. Do you know the consequences of talking like that? The young gangster took out an iron rod, flicked it in his hand, and looked at Xia Tian fiercely, obviously wanting to take action. The middle-aged man was also surprised. He raised his hand to stop the young thug who was about to attack. After seeing the scene, the other party dared to speak to him and others in such an attitude. He must have something to rely on. Who are you, little brother? The middle-aged man has not been able to get to where he is today entirely because of his courage to fight and kill. The grass on the grave of such a fool would be 3 feet high now. Jianghu is not just about fighting and killing, it is about human relationships and worldly wisdom. You have to be accurate in judging people and have sharp eyes. You can act like a big boss in front of cowardly, weak and incompetent people, and you can be as arrogant as you want. But in front of the real tough guys and powerful people, you have to act like a grandson. You should bow your head when you should, and you must not force yourself to do anything. Judging the situation, this is the reason why Brother Biao has not fallen down until now. I'm your father. Damn it, what era is it now? Why are you still playing the gangster tricks? You haven't heard of the campaign to crack down on gangsters and eliminate evil, right? I'm just standing here, come and try to move me? Xia Tian made up his mind. Anyway, it seemed like the situation today could not be resolved amicably, so he had no intention of settling things peacefully. Fuck, kid, you're looking for death. The young thug couldn't stand it anymore, so he wanted to teach Xia Tian a lesson, to let him know the consequences of being so arrogant in front of him. But at this moment, the air seemed to be quiet, because 8 very beautiful figures with their own characteristics appeared. Hearing the noise outside, the 8 women who were fighting with each other in the house all came out. The simultaneous appearance of 8 top beauties brought the entire scene to a standstill. When have the gangsters ever seen such a scene? Normally, they couldn't get any beauties of this level even if they wanted to. But today, they were really eye-opening to see so many top beauties appearing together. The impact on the men present was simply too great. Gurgle. There was a sound of swallowing saliva, and everyone's eyes were almost staring straight. Fairies, these are the 7 fairies coming down to earth. The number is wrong, there are 8 fairies. Xia Tian frowned as he watched these people stare at his wives with disgusting eyes. He was secretly unhappy in his heart. He snorted coldly and walked in front of Xinhuan and the others. You go in first, I'll take care of it here. This brother may have misunderstood something. We are not here to cause trouble. We are all family. I am Wang Dabiao. Su Shuyi accepted my gift and promised to marry Su Yuyu, the second daughter of the Su family, to me, so... Brother Biao suddenly became polite in front of all the beauties. In front of these fairies, they also unconsciously restrained their rudeness. You're talking nonsense. Su Shuyi has received your betrothal gift and you go find Su Shuyi. You still want me to marry you? Are you crazy like a toad wanting to eat swan meat? Why don't you take a piss and look at your own moral character? Besides, I'm already married, so just give up this idea. Su Yuyu cursed at this so-called brother Biao and called her gambling father by his name. She was obviously very angry. Wang Da Biao, right? Don't you know that Ms. Su Yuyu is already my legal wife? Xia Tian looked at Wang Da Biao with a cold face. What? You and Su Yuyu got married? Were you forced to get married? Wang Da Biao was furious and looked at Su Shuyi hatefully. It was all the old guy's fault for making excuses and insisting that he would only marry his daughter to him after his father died. As a result, they were forced to get married. It's not a forced match, we are getting married voluntarily. Oh, by the way, not only Su Yuyu, but also Su Qingqing is my wife. Xia Tian was at ease. What? Su Shuyi, you dare to play tricks on me? Wang Da Biao looked at Su Shuyi fiercely. Brother Biao, you are innocent. I really don't know. I have no idea when this guy and my girl got the marriage certificate. Su Shuyi hurriedly explained. Boy, I don't care what your purpose is in getting married to the 2 sisters of the Su family, but I advise you to divorce them immediately, otherwise don't blame me for being rude. Wang Dabiao was immediately overwhelmed by lust when he saw such a beautiful Su Yuyu, and warned Xia Tian. It was impossible for him to give up the opportunity to have such a stunning beauty as Su Yuyu. Looking at the row of stunning beauties with their own unique characteristics in front of him, he had a crazy thought in his heart that he shouldn't have. You're welcome? How do you mean you're welcome? Let me see. Suddenly a clear and heroic voice came from outside the door. Then 2 figures walked in. The ones in front were Wen Lan and Zhang Wei. They walked in with several comrades from the Public Security Bureau. The one who spoke was Wen Lan. The gang of thugs suddenly bent over and hunched their backs as if by reflex, acting like ostriches. Wang Dabiao was confused. How did the police come so quickly? Where was the person keeping watch at the door? Normally they would have people keeping watch outside when they were doing things, because they were worried about the sudden appearance of people from the Public Security Bureau. But today, when the people who were responsible for keeping watch at the door heard that there was a beautiful woman inside, they couldn't help but sneak in to see the beauty together, and had long forgotten about keeping watch. So the people from the Security Bureau have already arrived and caught them red-handed. Comrade police officer, it's a misunderstanding, it's all a misunderstanding. We were just joking among ourselves. Brother Su's father passed away, and we, as good brothers, came here to pay our condolences, right? Wang Dabiao bent down with his head bowed, apologizing with a smile on his face. Oh, it turns out to be the famous brother Biao. No wonder he is so rude to others. Why is he shouting for war and killing? And he mobilized so many of his men? A male police officer looked at Wang Dabiao. They were old acquaintances and he knew the other party's background very well, so he asked. It's okay, it's really okay, officer. It's just a misunderstanding. It's okay now. Our condolences are over. Have you all finished offering incense to the old man? After that we will leave. Don't disturb other people's funeral. Wang Dabiao said as he walked outside. Stop. Who told you to leave? Wen Lan shouted to stop these people. Officer, we didn't do anything. What are you doing? Wang Dabiao apologized with a smile. Why don't you want to cooperate with the investigation? Lan Diwen said in a stiff tone. Okay, we will cooperate with whatever the police officer asks us to do. We are all law-abiding citizens, we will definitely cooperate. Wang Dabiao had a sad and depressed face. Okay, old rules. You are all old acquaintances, so there is no need for me to explain it specifically, right? Be more self-disciplined. A male police officer said to these people. Then, all of Wang Dabiao's men consciously put their hands on their heads, squatted on the ground, and lined up in a row. Suddenly, all kinds of weapons were revealed and fell to the ground. Humph, you still say you're not looking for trouble? Then what are these weapons for? Wen Lan said with disdain. After controlling these people, Wen Lan and Zhang Wei walked towards Shenwan and Su Rou. Teacher Shen, Teacher Su, are you okay? Did these guys hurt you? Wang Dabiao squatted on the ground, watching all this, thinking to himself, it turns out that this person is an acquaintance of the police officer. I have hit a wall this time. Soon, the two sisters Su Yuyu and Su Qingqing told the police officers what happened, and Wang Dabiao and his group were taken away for retrial. The other party is suspected of trafficking in women, and the other one who is causing trouble will definitely not be able to escape either. The male police officers took Wang Dabiao and his group away, but Wen Lan and Zhang Wei stayed behind. They already knew what had just happened and were looking at Xia Tian in surprise. At this time, the two of them had already known that the 8 stunning beauties in front of them were Xia Tian's wives, and they were shocked. What unique charm does this boy Xia Tian have that can make so many beautiful women choose to devote themselves to him? Because this area is not under their jurisdiction, they do not need to interrogate the criminals, but they can get closer to Shenwan and Su Rou. Officer Wen, Officer Zhang, thank you for today. If you hadn't arrived in time, I would be in great danger today. Xia Tian stepped forward to thank them, but Wen Lan didn't appreciate it at all. Stop, we're not here because of you. We came here because we received a call for help from Teacher Shen. It has nothing to do with you. Don't flatter yourself. Lan Diwen confronted this scumbag right in front of him without any mercy. Xia Tian was a little embarrassed for a moment. It seemed that Lan Diwen had a lot of opinions about him, but he didn't do anything to offend her, right? That's it for today. You guys take care of the funeral arrangements for the old man at home first. As for the things between us, we can make an appointment to talk in detail after you are done with your work. Shenwan sighed. In this situation, the old man's body was still warm, and the two sisters of the Su family certainly didn't have the mind or energy to discuss these things. It would be better to talk about it later. Guya also agreed with Shenwan's proposal, and Yilan was even more eager for it. The two sisters of the Su family looked at Shenwan with gratitude. They were still immersed in the pain of their grandfather's death. In addition, their gambling father could not be relied on, so they had to take the responsibility of handling the affairs of the family. Xia Tian, please stay here and help. We'll leave first. Shenwan asked Xia Tian to stay and help, and they left one after another. I'll go see them off. Xia Tian also followed them out of the Su family. Yilan and Song Jia said hello to a few people and left first. Guya, Lu Xian, Shenwan and Su Rou all looked at Xia Tian with sneers on their faces. Wen Lan and Zhang Wei watched the show from the side. Xia Tian looked embarrassed. Although there was a reason for it, he still felt guilty in front of them. Wife, well, I really didn't mean it. This time things were too hasty. It was an accident. It was really just an accident. Mr. Su left too suddenly. I was just a tool. Next time I will report to you in advance. What, there will be a next time? Su Rou looked angry, and the other 3 women also looked at Xia Tian with unfriendly faces. Well, Xia Tian, how about you give us a hand, get a marriage certificate with us, and be our tool husband, okay? Zhang Wei suddenly spoke to break the confrontation between Xia Tian and the others, and her words were not to be stunners. Chapter 92, still coming? The new wife is confused. Everyone's eyes turned to them at once, with a mixture of shock, disbelief, confusion, and other emotions. Another person involved, Landy One, looked embarrassed, and was so ashamed that she couldn't even lift her head. Hee, if you mind, just pretend I didn't say anything. I saw that this kid is so skilled at being a tool for others. Besides, you are his wives, Teacher Shin and Teacher Su are here. I don't think this kid would dare to do anything wrong. Zhang Wei was also a little embarrassed. She felt very ashamed to be stared at by them, so she explained with gritted teeth. Do you want a shield to get married? Xinhuan digested the shock of the news and asked after a while. Yes. Perhaps Zhang Wei had used up all her courage because of what she had just said, so she lowered her head and acted like an ostrich. Landy Wen then stepped forward and admitted it straightforwardly. The first is that our families are pushing us too hard. They are always worried that we are like tomboys and can't get married. So they arrange blind dates for us from time to time, which is really annoying. It's not that we can't accept the introductions, but the men they introduce are all older and have more than one wife. Another reason is to avoid being pestered by others. This guy looks honest and has experience in being a shield for others. It's not easy to be exposed. If you mind, forget it, we'll find someone else. Wan Lan said. Landy One and Zhang Wei are considered the two most beautiful policewomen in the police force. There are actually quite a few men who covet them, and they have many suitors. The two of them didn't have high standards for choosing a partner. They had been in contact with other men before, including men in the police force. However, they always believed that women were as good as men, and they wanted to compete with men in everything. Therefore, some of the men who had contact with them couldn't stand their strong personalities. In addition, the two of them were very strong, and they would ruthlessly subdue the men who wanted to hold their hands or take advantage of them, and they clearly said that they were not allowed to touch them before they got married. Which man could stand this? Not to mention not being allowed to touch them, but also being suppressed in everything. Who could stand this? So in the end, all of them ended in failure. They have been single until now. They are actually not very old, both 26 years old. They became good friends because they share the same suffering and have been together ever since. This time, inspired by the two sisters of the Su family and Yilan and others, she thought of letting Xiatian get married with her as a shield. This would also dispel the rumors that they could not get married. Another reason was to stop her family from worrying about their lifelong events. After listening to Landy Wen's explanation, Guya and Lu Xian looked at each other. Although this kind of thing was not common, it was not rare either. However, they always felt unwilling to watch their husbands get married with other women. In addition, they were not familiar with these two policewomen, so they did not speak up to express their agreement or disagreement. Although they sympathized with what happened to Landy One and Zhang Wei, deep down, they certainly did not want Xiatian to get a marriage certificate with them. Landy One and Zhang Wei also looked at each other. The four women in front of them could be said to be Xiatian's real wives. Yilan and the other four were just Xiatian's contractual spouses. The two knew that if they wanted Xiatian to get a marriage certificate with them as a shield, they had to get their consent. Landy Wen thought about it and suddenly said to Xiatian, can you help us buy a bottle of water? It was obviously an excuse to get Xiatian away. Even someone as innocent as Xiatian knew that it was just an excuse, and Xinhuan and the others understood it even more clearly. Xiatian muttered that he wanted to discuss getting a marriage certificate with me, but he sent me away. How interesting. But who made me feel guilty today? Now I can only behave well. I don't know what the women talked about with each other. After Xiatian came back with 4 bottles of water, they seemed to be talking and laughing, and it was obvious that they had reached some kind of agreement. We have no objection, as long as Xiatian agrees. Seeing Xiatian coming back, Xinhuan and the others stopped dragging their feet and looked at each other and immediately expressed their opinions. Then Xiatian, can you do us this favor? There are many benefits to getting a marriage certificate with us. At least it can guarantee that someone like Brother Biao who saw you today will never dare to act arrogantly in front of you again. Zhang Wei felt there was hope, and immediately told them the benefits of getting a marriage certificate with them. Of course, Xiatian was willing to do it. Not to mention that both Landy One and Zhang Wei were equally beautiful, the system would give each of them 10 million living expenses every week after getting married with them. 20 million for 2 people, which would be several hundred million in income a year. I didn't. Xiatian was about to say that he had no problem, but when he glanced at the other party, he suddenly thought that if he agreed so easily, wouldn't it make him look too eager? Besides, he had just promised not to do such a thing again, and now he was going back on his word. It was too easy to change his mind. So he changed his words and said, "Well, I just promised my wife that I would not do such a thing again, and now I'm going back on my word again." This is. Before Xiatian could finish his words, Landiwen suddenly interrupted him and said, "The four of your real wives here have agreed. You didn't agree because you were worried that you couldn't explain to your other four wives, right?" Landiwen's words made Shenwan and the other four change their expressions. That's right. With the nature of men and Xiatian's virtue, seeing such superb beauties as Landiwen and Zhang Wei, there is absolutely no reason for him not to agree to such a good thing. Now that he has already agreed to it, Xiatian still refuses. Is it really because of the four people who got the marriage certificate today? Women are suspicious, especially when facing their significant other, they are more suspicious. They obviously believed what Landiwen said. Are you and Yilan and the other three really just agreeing to get married? Are you using them as a shield? Su Rou looked at Xiatian suspiciously. Well, haven't I explained this to you clearly? You even went to Mr. Su's funeral hall, so why don't you believe me now? Xiatian certainly didn't want to just be a tool or a shield, but of course he couldn't say this so openly. Since you like to be a tool and a shield for beautiful women so much, why are you now making excuses in front of us and being unwilling to get a marriage certificate with Officer Wen and Officer Zhang? Lu Xian looked at Xiatian with the same suspicion. Or is it that our delicate looks are not enough to impress Boss Xia? Wen Lan's face was already showing an unhappy look. Well, I didn't say I disagree. I just wonder if this might be a bit too frivolous. You guys should think about it carefully before making a decision. There's no need to rush to get the certificate. Think about it in a couple of days before you decide. Xiatian explained. The more Xiatian said this, the more suspicious they became. Why didn't you think carefully when you and Yilan and the others suddenly got your marriage certificate? Xinhuan looked at Xiatian with narrowed eyes. And you originally told us that we were going to Yunhai Agricultural Company today. Guya also reminded. Well, okay, I'm just giving you a friendly reminder. Since you insist on getting a marriage certificate, I have no problem with it. It's up to you. Xiatian said very straightforwardly. Then take out your cell phone and ID card and start. Xinhuan looked at Xiatian. Xiatian took out his cell phone and did some operations. Wen Lan and Zhang Wei did not waste any time. They knew that Xiatian had a lot of assets, and the cost of marrying an extra wife was not worth mentioning to Xiatian, so they were not polite at all. Xiatian is now very familiar with getting a marriage certificate. He quickly filled out the information on his phone and waited for Landiwen and Zhang Wei to fill in the application form. Ha, you are really proficient in this business now. Su Rou mocked Xiatian, who looked embarrassed. Isn't it? He has been married 8 times, how can he not be skilled? Lu Xian also said sarcastically. More than that, it's 10 times now. Su Rou continued. The two people who originally disliked each other now feel like they share a common hatred for the enemy because of Xiatian. Xiatian could only pretend he didn't hear it, took a photo and clicked to apply, and soon the electronic marriage certificate for him, Landiwen and Zhang Wei, was processed. Looking at the freshly issued electronic marriage certificate, Xiatian himself felt a little emotional, because now he actually has 10 wives. The living expenses distributed by the system every week alone amount to 100 million. 100 million, hey, if you don't calculate it, you won't know. This calculation makes Xiatian excited. Absolutely no divorce. 100 million a week, that's 5.2 billion a year. It's a guaranteed income regardless of drought or flood. While Xiatian got married again, sisters Su Qingqing and Su Yuyu, as well as Yilan and Song Jia, also received notification of Xiatian's remarriage. As spouses, they would receive notification text messages. The 4 of them were all confused at this time. Was Xiatian really going to be a stud? Less than half a day after getting the marriage certificate with the 4 of them, he got the marriage certificate with 2 women again. How fast was this? Let's take a look at the identities of the 2 people Xiatian is planning to remarry. They are the 2 stunning policewomen they just met. Although they are nominally Xiatian's wives, they are only nominal wives, at least for now. Therefore, they have no reason to have any say in Xiatian's remarriage. So no matter how uncomfortable they feel inside, they can only pretend not to see it and endure it on their own. Xinhuan and the others left, and Xiatian returned to the Su family to help again. When Su Yuyu saw Xiatian coming back, she couldn't help but feel resentful. Did you go to give someone away, or did you find time to get married? Hee hee, it's just a coincidence, just a coincidence. I'm just a tool for others. Don't think of it in the wrong way and don't mind it. Xia Tian explained. What should we mind? We are just a contractual couple, so we have no right to mind. Su Yuyu said sourly. I promised Grandpa that I would take good care of you too. Xia Tian said to Su Yuyu. Su Yuyu blushed and said nothing more. Su Qingqing glanced at Xia Tian, seeming to want to say something but stopped herself from speaking. Friends and relatives of the Su family as well as old man Su's good friend Gujiu also came one after another to pay their respects. The Su sisters began to busy themselves with receiving these friends and relatives. Xia Tian didn't know these people, and he didn't know what to do, so he just stayed aside. Fortunately, Yi Lan had called someone from the funeral business to run errands, so everything seemed in order and not messy. At night, the Su sisters had to keep vigil, while Xia Tian was taken by Su Qingqing to their boudoir to rest. Staying up late at night was very tiring, and Xia Tian, such a grown-up nobleman, probably couldn't bear it. In the eyes of the Su sisters, Yi Lan and Song Jia, Xia Tian is a rich and noble young man, so of course he cannot endure this suffering. Xia Tian originally wanted to keep watch with the two sisters Su Qingqing and Su Yuyu to cultivate their relationship, but he was really overworked last night and did not rest at noon today. He really could not bear to stay up until 12 o'clock. The key point is that tomorrow is the first day of school and he still has to go to school, so he did not act pretentiously and went to Su Qingqing in her room to prepare for bed, of course, alone. But just as he lay down and took out his cell phone, he found that he seemed to have forgotten something very important. Not only did he marry 6 wives today, but he also got a new girlfriend in the morning. His girlfriend was waiting for him in the hotel, but he got so busy that he completely forgot about her. The phone also showed a message that Wang Nan was waiting for him to have dinner together, and Xia Tian felt ashamed. I feel like a scumbag who is so busy marrying other girls that he forgets about his girlfriend. I need to go and coax her into submission as soon as possible. Thinking of this, I can't sleep at all. When he arrived at the hotel, he asked the butler of the presidential suite and learned that Wang Nan had not ordered any meal since he left. Xia Tian felt even more guilty and quickly asked the butler to serve a sumptuous meal. He went to the room first. Wang Nan had not rested in the room at this time. When she saw Xia Tian coming back, her melancholy face finally broke into a smile. She wanted to get up to greet Xia Tian, but her legs were still a little inconvenient. She let out a slight cry and Xia Tian quickly stopped her. Xia Tian, who had already eaten dinner in the evening, had to accompany Wang Nan for another midnight snack. Why don't you eat dinner first? What if I'm busy and can't get back tonight, will you just not eat? Xia Tian was a little unhappy. Faced with Xia Tian's concern for her, Wang Nan felt sweet in her heart and said soft words to admit her mistake. After dinner, it was time to rest. I had been busy all day and was tired in the summer, so I wanted to rest early. It's getting late, let's go to bed. Wang Nan looked embarrassed. Chapter 93 Shenwan trains her husband. He got up at 6 in the morning and yawned all the time in the summer. Don't get me wrong or think wrongly. He really didn't do anything last night. The biggest reason he didn't wake up was because he slept too late last night. As Xia Tian moved, Wang Nan on the other side woke up immediately. Why are you up so early? Wang Nan said sleepily. You go to sleep. I'm used to getting up early. After a little tidying up and exercising, it will be almost time for school. By the way, what are you going to do? Does your leg hurt now? Should you take a leave or go to school today? Xia Tian asked Wang Nan while getting dressed. My legs don't hurt that much anymore, and I do want to go to school, but you were so mean last night, how can I face people today? Wang Nan couldn't help but blushing as she looked at Xia Tian with resentment. Ahem, you're so beautiful, I just couldn't help myself. Xia Tian looked at Wang Nan pointing at the strawberry mark on her neck, and she was embarrassed. She was a little crazy last night. Well, then you should stay here today. I'll ask for a leave for you, and then you can have a good rest. Wang Nan rolled his eyes at Xia Tian and nodded. It seemed that this was the only way. It would not be appropriate for her to go back to school or the dormitory in her current state. She could only choose to stay in the hotel and relax. Xia Tian kissed Wang Nan on the forehead, deliberately avoiding Wang Nan's pouting mouth. After all, he didn't want to taste his own taste. Xia Tian transferred 3 more days' room fees to the housekeeper and then went out to prepare for school. When I drove to school, there were already many early risers in the Shuemu campus, some memorizing their lessons, some exercising, and it was very lively. Today's exercise time is not enough, I have to make good use of it. Xia Tian is going to continue running with Cheng Qian. But after running a lap today, I didn't see Cheng Qian running. She didn't come today, which is very rare. Cheng Qian basically exercises in the morning regardless of rain or shine, and has basically never stopped for so many days. In the summer, I had to run alone for an hour, then went to the cafeteria to buy some breakfast, and went back to the teacher's apartment to take a shower, change clothes, and go to school. When she opened the door, she saw Xinwan had already gotten up and was busy in the kitchen. She was a little surprised to see Xia Tian coming back. Why are you back so early? As a son-in-law, it would be unreasonable for you not to go to the Su family to help, right? Xinwan was not being sarcastic or anything, she really thought so. No matter what, Xia Tian was nominally the husband of the two sisters of the Su family. When Mr. Su passed away, it was somewhat unreasonable for Xia Tian, as a son-in-law, not to be there to help. I can't help much over there, so I came back. Xia Tian looked embarrassed. What's wrong with your neck? Su Ro came out of the bathroom and was surprised to see Xia Tian coming back. Suddenly, she saw some red marks on Xia Tian's neck, which looked like a kiss mark. Su Ro pointed at Xia Tian with an incredulous look on her face. Wanner, come and see, the pervert's neck has a hickey, a strawberry planted on it. Xinwan came out of the kitchen, grabbed Xia Tian's neck, and looked at him with shock and severity. Grandpa Su just passed away, and the Su family is still handling the funeral. Why are you so impatient and unable to control your desires? How can you do this in the Su family? Su Ro also looked at Xia Tian with disdain and said, is this what you mean by a husband-wife relationship that is just a cover for marriage? Do you have to be slapped in the face so quickly? After being told so by Xinwan and the others, Xia Tian also realized that Wang Nan had planted strawberries on him as well. He reached out and touched his neck. No wonder Wang Nan smiled like a little fox when he left. That's not the case. You misunderstood. I didn't have any close contact with the Su sisters, let alone do anything reckless. Old man Su's body is still warm. Even if I am anxious, I can't do these things at this time, right? Besides, it's impossible for the Su sisters to do anything reckless with me. Xia Tian hurried to explain, otherwise what kind of person would he be in the eyes of Xinwan and Su Ro? Then where did you get those strawberry marks on your neck? Who did you mess with? Su Ro asked immediately. Well, this definitely has nothing to do with the two sisters of the Su family. I'm going to take a shower first. I'm all sweaty after running. Xia Tian tried to get away with it. The key was that the person who planted the strawberry mark on him last night was not any woman who the two of them knew had a relationship with him. If they knew that he had been hooking up with Wang Nan without telling them, he would probably be in trouble again. If it's not the Su sisters, then they must be from the school next door? That's not right. After all, the one next door is a teacher. Knowing that school is going to start today, she shouldn't do such a crazy and bold thing, right? Su Ro analyzed. No, I didn't go next door last night. I'll go take a shower first. It's really uncomfortable to be all sweaty. Xia Tian denied Guya and Lu Xian who were next door. This time Su Ro did not stop him. He successfully escaped into the bathroom and breathed a sigh of relief. It was not good for his wife to be too smart. She could reveal all her secrets after just one analysis. Wanner, did you hear that? He admitted that it wasn't the two women next door who did it, which means he had intimate relations with other women. Su Ro was furious. This liar, it turns out that men are animals who think with their lower body. He said he was just acting as a shield for others, but this is what he ended up doing? Su Ro was furious. Alas, as expected, if a man and a woman want to avoid having sex, the best way is to not have a relationship. But once they have a relationship, there is a probability of having sex. What's more, they are a legitimate couple, it is too easy for such things to happen. Xinwan said with emotion. She also couldn't sleep last night because she thought about this matter clearly. Take Su Ro for example. At first, she only intended to use Xia Tian as a tool, but how long has it been? The two have become a real couple. How long can other women and Xia Tian remain pure and innocent? No one knows. Then did we make a mistake by agreeing yesterday that Landi Wan, Zhang Wei and Xia Tian could get a marriage certificate? Will they become Xia Tian's real wives in the end? Su Ro thought that they had personally agreed to Landi Wan, Zhang Wei and Xia Tian getting a marriage certificate, and then thought that the two would become her love rivals in the future, so she felt depressed and wanted to hit someone. Xinwan was also a little depressed. But I don't think the women who had sex with Xia Tian last night would be Wenlan and Jiang Wei. After all, they are police officers from the Public Security Bureau and they should keep their promise. Besides, the relationship between them and Xia Tian is the weakest, so it shouldn't be them. Xinhuan continued to imagine and analyze. Apart from Landy Wan and Jiang Wei, there are only Yilan and Song Jia left. I didn't expect that the cold-looking Yilan is actually such a dissolute woman. Su Rou said angrily. Yilan should be relatively stable and should not do such a crazy thing. Song Jia is a possibility, but it's hard to say. She looks quite lively. Xinhuan frowned and analyzed. That heartless guy must have turned his fake play with Yilan and Song Jia into reality, right? Su Rou felt sour. She now had two more rivals in love. It would be strange if she could be happy. According to current inferences, Yilan and Song Jia have a higher probability. Xinhuan also rubbed her forehead. Her student husband made her speechless. He was so philandering at such a young age. How long has it been? It has been less than a month since his 20th birthday. From his first wife to the present, he has already had 10 legitimate wives who have obtained a marriage certificate and got married. This situation can no longer be described as philandering. Scumbags, sea kings, and studs are not as fast as Xia Tian, right? But Xia Tian's 10 wives all failed for various reasons, leaving her speechless. It's almost time for class. Xinhuan glanced at the time. She didn't have time to worry about her bad husband Xia Tian. The most important thing was to go to work. She and Su Rou grabbed some breakfast and hurried out. As for Xia Tian, none of them wanted to pay attention to this guy now. Xia Tian took an extra careful bath today. When he came out of the shower, he saw that Xinhuan and Su Rou had already gone to class and were not wasting time at home with him. This made him feel relieved. Anyway, his wife is his class teacher, so Xia Tian was not in a hurry to go to class. Instead, he ate a hearty breakfast at home peacefully. They bought breakfast for 3 people, but because they were in a hurry, Xinhuan and Su Rou only took a little bit of breakfast. It would be a waste if Xia Tian didn't finish it, so he let go of his stomach and finished all the breakfast. After a loud burp, Xia Tian staggered into the classroom halfway through the first class. He quietly entered the classroom through the back door, thinking that the person on the podium was his wife, and Xinhuan should just turn a blind eye to his behavior and let him go. But just as Xia Tian sneaked into the classroom from the back door and bent over to find a seat at the back, Xinhuan, who was speaking on the podium, suddenly spoke. The student who came in at the back with his back hunched, please stand up and let everyone see who in our class is so blatantly late for the first class? Xinhuan sneered at Xia Tian, who was trying to get away with it. She was angry and didn't want to let Xia Tian off easily. In unison, after hearing Xinhuan's words, almost all the students looked back. Xia Tian crouched in awkwardness, welcoming the whole class's attention. Under the gaze of the whole class, Xia Tian stood up straight with embarrassment on his face. He never expected that Xinhuan would be so disrespectful to him as to expose his whereabouts in public and make him look bad. I think it was the strawberry mark on my neck that morning that caused the trouble. It was all Wang Nan's fault. She looked quiet and gentle, but she was so bold and crazy in some things. I don't know when she got the strawberry mark on her neck. It stands to reason that he was the active one last night. Although Wang Nan was bold, she was relatively inexperienced. The whole process was led by him, the old driver. Xia Tian was right in his suspicion. The strawberry mark on his neck appeared after he fell asleep. Wang Nan was so angry when she saw the strawberry mark on her neck that she secretly covered it up for Xia Tian. Of course, Xia Tian didn't know about it. I never have the habit of looking in the mirror when I wash up in the morning in summer, and I never even look at my neck carefully. I said that there were a lot of people looking at me when I was running this morning. I originally thought it was because I was too charming, but it turns out this is the reason. At this time, under the gaze of the whole class, Xia Tian stood up awkwardly, looking at Xinhuan, who was looking at him with a half smile on the podium, and secretly slandered in his heart, how stingy, women are too vengeful. But you wait, the face you lost today, sooner or later you will change the time and place, and you have to double it back. I'm sorry, Teacher Shin. I was wrong. Next time I will pay attention to the time, and I promise that something like today will never happen again. Xia Tian admitted his mistake very openly. It's not shameful to admit it to his wife. Well, your attitude of admitting your mistakes is quite good, but wrong is wrong. In order to strengthen your awareness of this mistake, I will punish you to stand in class today. Does Xia Tian have any objection? Xinhuan did not let Xia Tian off easily because he took the initiative to admit his mistakes. Standing in the classroom, what an old way of punishment. Xia Tian was definitely the first person to be punished by standing in the classroom in college, at least in this class. The classmates laughed as they watched Xia Tian, the class monitor, being punished by the head teacher. Su Hao, in particular, looked gloating. He was happier than anyone else to see Xia Tian being punished. When the classmates saw that Xia Tian, the class monitor, was beaten up by Xinhuan, they secretly became alert. They must not provoke teacher Xin easily recently. In the past 2 days, everyone has been talking about the rumors about teacher Xin. Although they have been debunked, the fact that teacher Xin and another beauty in the school, teacher Su, share a husband is basically confirmed. Everyone is curious, which lucky guy has the blessing of accumulating merit in 8 lifetimes to marry 2 stunning beauties, teacher Xin and teacher Su? Su Hao might be the only one in the class who knew that Xia Tian was the lucky guy, but he had no intention of telling anyone about it. He didn't want to see Xia Tian being envied for being proud. Xia Tian's face turned bitter. He had already admitted his mistake proactively, but his wife still refused to let him go easily. It seemed that she was still very resentful towards him. No objection, teacher Shen. I'll stand and listen. Xia Tian stood dejectedly at the back of the classroom. Xinhuan felt a little reluctant for a moment, but when she thought of the good things this little bastard had done behind her back, the reluctance in her heart was forcibly suppressed. Xia Tian stood and listened for the entire class. The key point was that this class was a large class. It lasted a full hour and a half, and Xia Tian's legs were numb from standing. As soon as the get out of class was over, Xia Tian sat down on the bench in the last row to rest his feet. Although it was not as tiring as standing at attention, it was not comfortable to stand for so long. Chapter 94. I'm soft-hearted again. Xia Tian was furious. Sooner or later, he would find Xinhuan to get back at him. You want me to stand, right? Next time, I will punish you to kneel and beg for mercy. Why not do it tonight? Yes, a gentleman takes revenge from morning to night, and revenge should never be delayed overnight. Xia Tian, someone is looking for you. Xia Tian was sitting in his seat to rest, but he didn't expect to hear the voice of a classmate at the classroom door saying that someone was looking for him. Xia Tian frowned. Who is looking for me? I don't seem to have many acquaintances in school. He stood up and walked towards the door. When he arrived at the door, Xia Tian couldn't help but frown, because standing at the door were Jian Qin and Zhou Nianyo. At this time, Jian Qin looked nervous, and a blush could be clearly seen spreading to her neck. As a goddess, Jian Qin was always approached by boys. This was the first time she took the initiative to approach a boy, so she seemed a little embarrassed. What's the matter? Although it has been found out that Jian Qin cannot be blamed entirely for spreading rumors, because the pervert Yang Junkai had planned it in advance, if Jian Qin had not told Zhou Nianyo about this matter casually, Yang Junkai would not have used it to cause so many unexpected things. So Xia Tian did not intend to forgive Jian Qin so easily. Junior Xia Tian, can you please talk to me for a moment? Looking at the classmates who were watching around, Jian Qin said with a pleading look on his face. After all, both she and Zhou Nianyo are beautiful women, and Xia Tian is a handsome man. The combination of beautiful women and handsome men always attracts a lot of attention. Seeing the other party's pleading expression, Xia Tian felt a little reluctant in his heart. Although he still had a cold face, he nodded and agreed. Nianyo, why are you here? Don't you have classes today? I just finished class 2, let's. An uncomfortable voice sounded. It was Su Hao who happened to see Zhou Nianyo standing at the door. He suddenly became very excited. He thought that Zhou Nianyo came to find him on her own initiative. He couldn't help but get excited inside and had long forgotten Zhou Nianyo's attitude towards him that night. A bootlicker can always take the initiative to find reasons to forgive the goddess. Su Hao is such a person. When he saw Zhou Nianyo appear, he had already thrown out what Zhou Nianyo had said before from his mind. He even took the initiative to find reasons for the other party. It was just that the other party had not realized how good he was. Once you have moved the other person with your sincerity, things will definitely not be as they said. Zhou Nianyo was stunned, and then immediately realized that Su Hao and Xia Tian were classmates, and she had forgotten about it. Just now, she couldn't resist Jian Qin's plea, and she was also very curious about Xia Tian, so she chose to accompany Jian Qin to find Xia Tian without thinking much. As a result, she happened to meet Su Hao, her nominal boyfriend. She covered her head and was embarrassed. Jian Qin was also stunned, but she immediately reacted. Xia Tian and Su Hao were classmates. This time, she looked at Zhou Nianyo with an apologetic face. Zhou Nianyo was only embarrassed for a moment. Seeing Jianqin's apologetic face, he smiled at Jianqin and indicated that everything was fine. I'm sorry. I'm here with Xiaoqin to visit classmate Xia Tian today. Let's talk again when we're free some other time. He nodded to the other party and showed no intention of having a deep conversation with him. Su Hao's face turned red and gloomy visibly. His girlfriend came to see another boy, even though she was just accompanying the other girl, but when faced with the greeting of her serious boyfriend, she actually acted like she was not going to chat with him today. This made him so angry that he was shaking all over. I'm afraid no man can bear this humiliation. Xia Tian looked at the scene in front of him, the corners of his mouth slightly raised. Seeing Su Hao being so inexplicably happy made him feel much better. Even his original dissatisfaction and unhappiness with Jianqin were alleviated a lot at this moment. Junior Xia Tian, Xiaoqin wants to talk to you alone. Let's go outside and talk? Zhou Nianyo also felt very embarrassed, so he wanted to leave here quickly before talking. Taking the initiative to ask Xia Tian out, Su Hao's face instantly became even uglier. This was completely ignoring the face and existence of her boyfriend. The jealousy and resentment towards Xia Tian in my heart reached its peak. Xia Tian did not comment, let's go. After saying that, he looked at Su Hao with a smile on his face, and walked out with Jianqin and Zhou Nianyo. Leaving behind him were a group of classmates watching the fun and Su Hao, whose face was ashen. The three of them walked until they reached a deserted place, then stopped. Xia Tian looked impatient and said, if you have anything to say, just tell me now. Although Jianqin and Zhou Nianyo are both very beautiful and charming goddess-level beauties, Xia Tian does not feel moved or have any other emotions because of the others' beautiful looks. He now has 10 extremely beautiful wives, and a girlfriend who is no worse than them. So although he still appreciates beautiful women, he no longer has the idea of possessing them. In fact, because he has too many wives and they are competing with each other, he has become a little afraid. Unless there are special circumstances, he does not want to increase the number of his wives. 10 wives are already enough to kill him. He really can't stand it if there are more. Junior brother Xia Tian, I came here specifically to apologize to you. Although the matter has been clarified and it was that young Jun Kai who caused the trouble, the cause of the matter is me. Blame me for not keeping my mouth shut. Seeing that Xia Tian had such an impatient look when facing her, Jianqin felt very sad. Is there no way back? Don't blame Xiaoqin for this matter. If you want to blame someone, blame me. I forced Xiaoqin to say it. She didn't intend to say it. So if you want to blame someone, blame me. It has nothing to do with Xiaoqin. Xiaoqin is almost dying of guilt. Junior brother Xia Tian, you can blame me. Don't treat Xiaoqin like this anymore. She cried all night the day before yesterday, and tossed and turned last night without sleeping for half the night. Look, she has dark circles under her eyes now. Zhou Nianyo took the problem and took the responsibility on himself. This was indeed the case. I don't blame you. It's over, the culprit has been brought to justice, and that's it. Xia Tian shook his head. There was no need to blame Jianqin and Zhou Nianyo. It was also an unintentional mistake on their part. The police didn't say anything, and the matter had been clarified. What was the point in him blaming anyone? Although Xia Tian said that he didn't blame her and that the matter had been moved on, Jianqin knew that Xia Tian had not truly forgiven her, otherwise, Xia Tian had really liked her that night, kissing and hugging her, except for the last step, and it was all her fault. Although Xia Tian says that he forgives me now, his behavior when facing me is completely as if he doesn't want to be approached by a stranger. He can't even have an ordinary friendship with me, let alone any intimate behavior. Thinking of this, Jianqin felt very sad. How could she get her junior brother Xia Tian back to the close relationship they had before? Zhou Nianyo glanced at her best friend Jianqin, who looked like a resentful woman, and couldn't help but sigh. Jianqin was not like this before. She used to be quite arrogant. Why is she under some kind of spell from Xia Tian now? She looks like she can't live without him and wants to pay for him. Is this the magic of love? I couldn't help but slander it in my heart. If there's nothing else, I'll leave first. Xia Tian glanced at Jianqin, who looked lonely, and decided not to bother this girl. The first reason is that he already has enough women, and most of them haven't broken through his defense line yet. How can he have time to provoke other women? If he wants to take in more women, he should at least wait until he has eaten all the women in his bowl, right? Another thing is that Xia Tian was a little unhappy with Jian Qin's behavior. After comprehensive consideration, he decided to reject this girl, even though he knew that he could easily take advantage of Jian Qin with just a snap of his fingers. Seeing that Xia Tian was about to leave, Zhou Nianyo couldn't bear to see her best friend's true feelings end up with such a tragic result, so Zhou Nianyo chose to stand up for her best friend. Junior brother Xia Tian, now that the matter has been discussed and resolved, can we have a meal together and just be ordinary friends? Zhou Nianyo took the initiative to suggest for Jian Qin. Let's do it another day. I have something to do today. Xia Tian's words were not entirely an excuse. Originally, he had to go to Su's house in Wang Nan's place today, so he didn't have the time and energy to have dinner with Zhou Nianyo and Jian Qin. Hearing that Xia Tian didn't even give her a chance to have a meal, Jian Qin felt even more sad, and her eyes turned red with grievance. Zhou Nianyo gritted his teeth and said, Xia Tian, now that you have finished talking about your affairs, let's talk about Xiao Qin's affairs. You wrongly accused Xiao Qin and wrongly accused her. Shouldn't you apologize to Xiao Qin? Xia Tian was stunned. When he thought about it the other way around, it was indeed true. He had previously suspected Jian Qin was the culprit who spread the obscene rumors online. He had indeed wronged her and blamed her wrongly. Do you know how Xiao Qin has been spending the past 2 days because of your injustice? She couldn't eat or sleep. How miserable and pitiful is that? Seeing that Xia Tian seemed to be thinking about something and didn't refute him, Zhou Nianyo breathed a sigh of relief. As long as Xia Tian listened to what he said, it would be fine, so he continued to play the victim. Jian Qin was so embarrassed that she wanted to stop Zhou Nianyo from continuing. It sounded like she was a girl who was obsessed with love and was somewhat embarrassed in front of her lover. Zhou Nianyo stopped Jian Qin with a look of disappointment on his face and was about to continue speaking, but Xia Tian spoke first. You're right. I wronged Jian Qin. I'm sorry. Xia Tian frankly admitted his mistake. In this regard, Xia Tian has always been very decisive. No, it was my fault in the first place. You don't have to apologize to me. Jian Qin said hesitantly. She didn't expect Xia Tian to really apologize to her. Zhou Nianyo looked very happy. She didn't expect Xia Tian to actually admit it. As long as you admit it, it's fine. She rolled her eyes at Jian Qin. It was true that girls in love have zero IQ. Fortunately, she had a military advisor. She interrupted Jian Qin immediately. Well, Junior, since you admit that you are wrong, it's not too much for you to treat Xiao Qin and me to a meal to show your sincerity, right? You have to know that not only Xiao Qin is sad and upset, I also feel guilty seeing Xiao Qin like this these 2 days, and the pressure in my heart is also quite great. Zhou Nianyo stated the ultimate purpose. Xia Tian is a little helpless. After going around in a big circle, he is still back to the starting point and has to eat with himself. Let's do it another day. I really have something to do today. Xia Tian refused more sincerely this time. Let's just have lunch together at noon. It won't take up much of your time. After lunch, you can go about your business. It's not that I'm ignorant and insist on having lunch with you today. It's just that Xiao Qin hasn't eaten well in the past 2 days. If she doesn't have lunch with you today, I guess she won't be able to eat. Her body can't bear it if this continues. So, would you mind having lunch with her? I guess she'll be able to eat only if you eat with her now. Zhou Nianyo looked pleading. She had no choice. Who made her have such a love-brained bestie? Jian Qin was so embarrassed that she couldn't even raise her head. She secretly blamed Zhou Nianyo for exposing all her embarrassing stories in front of Xia Tian. Xia Tian sighed slightly. The other person sounded so pitiful, it would be unreasonable for him to refuse cruelly. Okay then, but I'll be leaving after 1 o'clock. Xia Tian thought about it and finally agreed. The other person sounded so pitiful that he couldn't bear it anymore. His bad habit of being soft-hearted came back again. No problem. I promise it won't take up too much of your time. I'll arrange the place and then send you a message and you can just go there directly. Zhou Nianyo breathed a sigh of relief. She finally made an appointment with her best friend Jian Qin. This way, she felt less guilty. Now I can only hope that this lunch today can make the two of them reconcile, so that the guilt in my heart can be completely thrown away. Didn't we agree that I would treat you? Xia Tian wondered. Hey, let's book a place and you can pay the bill, right? Zhou Nianyo thought of a good idea, so she had to book the place. Okay, then send me the address when you guys get there at noon. It was just a meal, which was no pressure at all for Xia Tian now. Besides, the three of them were not short of money, so it didn't matter who treated them. Okay, then we will make arrangements first. Do you have classes later? Zhou Nianyo was very excited, while Jianqin was very shy. There is still one class. Xia Tian thought about the schedule and said. The three of them separated and Xia Tian continued to go to class. He didn't dare to make mistakes easily before he coaxed Xinwan. It can be seen from the punishment of standing this morning that Xinwan will never let him off easily. Chapter 95, A Confused Account. When Xia Tian arrived at the address sent by Jianqin, he was confused when he saw the place in front of him. Didn't we agree to eat in the restaurant? What was this place for? What he saw in front of him was not a restaurant, but a private courtyard. He frowned and looked again at the address that Jianqin sent him. It was indeed the address and he was not in the wrong place, but why did they ask him to come here? Don't we all go to hotels or restaurants for meals? Do we want them to cook for themselves here? Xia Tian's guess was right. This is not a hotel or restaurant, but a private residence of the Zhou family in the imperial capital. Today, for the sake of her best friend Jianqin, Zhou Nianyo also contributed this private residence. The purpose is of course to allow Jianqin and her junior brother Xia Tian to reconcile as before. I called a chef to cook for me and he has prepared a table full of dishes. We are just waiting for the arrival of summer. Jianqin looked at the time on her phone, looking a little anxious. Why hasn't he arrived yet? Don't worry, summer should be here soon. It's only been a short time since you sent the message. Why are you in such a hurry? Zhou Nianyo looked at Jianqin speechlessly. Will he not come in because this is a private residence? Jianqin didn't listen to Zhou Nianyo's advice at all and kept talking to herself. Ding dong! Suddenly, a message alert sounded from the phone in her hand. Jianqin immediately looked down to check the message. It was indeed a message from Xia Tian, a junior. It was just 3 simple words, I'm here. Okay, wait a moment, I'll be out to pick you up soon. Jianqin replied to the message while walking out. As he walked, he said to Zhou Nianyo, Xia Tian has arrived. He is at the door. I will go pick him up. Zhou Nianyo looked at Jianqin's impatient state, completely discarded his once proud reserve, and shook his head slightly. Between men and women, whoever falls in love first loses. Obviously, Jianqin has already fallen in love, but from the performance of Xia Tian today, it seems that he may not be too cold to Jianqin. I can only hope that this meal today can restore the relationship between the two. Maybe I have to do something, otherwise, if it depends on Jianqin herself, I don't know when the lovers will finally get married. Thinking of this, Zhou Nianyo turned around and walked towards the basement. This mansion was where Zhou Nianyo's father lived in the imperial capital. There was an underground wine cellar with a variety of fine wines. In order to help Xia Tian and Jianqin break the ice faster, Zhou Nianyo prepared to steal 2 bottles of her father's good wine from the wine cellar. There would be no atmosphere at a dinner party without wine, especially for a reconciliation like this. Wine is necessary. She also liked to drink, and after rummaging around in her father's wine cabinet, she suddenly saw 2 bottles of green wine. She picked them up curiously and took a look, but unfortunately the labels had been torn off long ago and she couldn't see any information. It looked good, so Zhou Nianyo immediately decided to drink this wine today. They came out of the underground wine cellar with 2 bottles of wine. At this time, Jianqin had already returned with Xia Tian. Looking at such a large table of sumptuous food, the 3 of them sat down. Eating out is not as convenient as at home, so we decided to treat you to a meal at home. I hope you don't mind, Junior. Seeing that Jianqin didn't say anything, Zhou Nianyo could only take the initiative to speak to open the situation. It's pretty good. The environment here is nice. Xia Tian replied. Junior brother Xia Tian, let's have a drink. There's no feast without food and wine. We 2 weak women are willing to risk our lives to accompany you today. Zhou Nianyo took out the wine and opened the bottle. Xia Tian was stunned. Normally, when a man and a woman eat together, the man will persuade the woman to drink when he has ill intentions. As the saying goes, if the woman doesn't get drunk, how can the man have a chance? Why is it the other way around today? His plan today was just to come and have a meal with Jianqin and the others and then leave. He didn't have any ill intentions or anything impure. Let's not drink at noon, okay? I have things to do in the afternoon, and it's not convenient to drive after drinking. Xia Tian wanted to refuse, he didn't like drinking very much. It's okay, just call a designated driver. Drinking a little won't cause any problems. We are entertaining such a distinguished guest. If we don't drink a little, we would be ignorant. Besides, we two girls are not afraid, so what are you afraid of? Are you afraid that we two girls will get you drunk and do something bad to you? Zhou Nianyo continued half-jokingly. Besides, with two beautiful girls like us drinking with them, other boys would be eager to drink with us. But you, Xia Tian, are trying to refuse. You are going too far. This is also true. Just based on the beauty of Zhou Nianyo and Zhen Xin, all the boys would probably be eager to encounter such a good thing. After hearing what Zhou Nianyo said, Xia Tian couldn't forcefully refuse, so he just nodded and agreed. Then drink less. I really have something else to do in the afternoon, so it's okay as long as we get the message across. Okay, we'll listen to you. We two don't usually drink much, so today we'll just accompany you and have a drink to relax. Zhou Nianyo filled 3 glasses of wine for the 3 people. Not to mention that this wine of her father's, whose name I don't know, is really good. Not only does the color look beautiful, making people want to drink it, it also smells refreshing and pleasant. Come on, junior brother Xia Tian, welcome to my humble home. Let's have a toast. As the host, Zhou Nianyo raised the glass first. The 3 of them raised their glasses at the same time. The wine tasted sweet and fragrant, without any of the spiciness of alcohol. Instead, it tasted as good as fruit wine. The 3 of them brightened up and drank the glass of wine in their hands with one gulp. Are you relieved now? This is fruit wine, not alcohol. Come on, keep filling it up. Zhou Nianyo didn't expect that these 2 bottles of green wine were just fruit wine. Anyway, it tasted good. Fruit wine is better than fruit wine. Xia Tian no longer refused this delicious fruit wine and let Zhou Nianyo continue to fill his glass. The 3 of them did not mention the previous events, but instead chatted about other things, mainly things about the school. The 3 of them ate and talked, and they seemed to have a great time. From time to time, they could hear laughter, and their relationship gradually became closer. With delicious food and wine and beautiful women by his side, Xia Tian couldn't help but drink 2 more glasses. The 3 of them drank this delicious fruit wine in big gulps and basically finished the glass without anyone refusing. So soon, 1 bottle of wine was finished, and then another one was opened. Xia Tian did not stop Zhou Nianyo from opening the 2nd bottle of wine. It was just fruit wine, and if he continued to refuse to drink it, he would seem a little too pretentious. The 2nd bottle of fruit wine was quickly finished. Zhou Nianyo originally wanted to continue drinking, but unfortunately there were only these 2 bottles of fruit wine in her father's wine cellar, so she had to give up. In less than half an hour, the 3 of them had drunk 2 bottles of fruit wine, and they had not eaten much of the food in front of them. Then the 3 of them sped up their eating pace. Without any wine to go with it, they just ate. But soon, the 3 of them felt something was wrong. They felt a little hot all over, especially a hint of heat rising from their dantian, which gradually spread throughout their bodies. The heat was very hot, and gradually it became hotter and hotter. Soon the 3 of them were sweating profusely, and their whole bodies seemed to be steaming with heat, and their entire skin began to turn red. The current state of the 3 people is somewhat strange. It seems that not only are there obvious changes in their bodies, but also some changes in their minds, making them begin to have some lustful thoughts. What's going on? Xia Tian looked at Zhou Nianyo and Zhen Xin and felt that they were more and more beautiful, charming and sexy. In the eyes of Zhou Nianyo and Zhen Xin, Xia Tian also became more and more handsome, charming and manly. They both find each other full of attraction and charm, so the next thing happens naturally, and everything happens so naturally. It was also Zhou Nianyo's fault. The 2 bottles of green fruit wine they drank were a kind of tonic fruit wine that Zhou's father had spent a lot of money to ask someone to prepare. This kind of fruit wine had no alcohol content, so it tasted sweet and delicious. This kind of fruit wine is nourishing and strengthening the body, nourishing yin and tonifying yang, and has great effects on both men and women. Zhou's father is usually over 50 years old, and drinking a glass of it, that is, a small 1-cent cup of white wine, can make Zhou's father regain his vigor and enjoy himself. The 3 newbies drank 2 bottles, which is 2 kilograms. After dividing it equally among the 3, each of them got nearly 7 taels. Fortunately, this expensive tonic wine was not a strong one, otherwise such a large amount would definitely cause trouble. Although it's not very strong, it still feels uncomfortable. Time passed, and the next morning, a ray of dazzling sunlight dazzled people, and Xiao woke up with back pain and leg cramps. After taking a look at the messy environment, he was stunned at first, then he felt a headache and dizziness. How could this happen again? Isn't it just fruit wine? Why does this happen? It's not white wine, why is it like this again? Then he thought about how his whole body seemed to be hot and his mind was full of desires, and he immediately realized that there must be something wrong with the so-called fruit wine. Could it be that Jianqin had planned this in advance? This possibility cannot be ruled out, but the only thing that doesn't make sense is how did Jianqin get Zhou Nianyo involved? If she had planned this in advance, it shouldn't have happened, right? I drank twice, and both times I ended up having drunken sex. I'd better not drink anymore in the future. As Xia Tian woke up and moved, Zhou Nianyo and Jianqin also woke up. Two soft exclamations were heard one after another. Xia Tian also became nervous. Fortunately, the thing he was worried about did not happen. After the three of them had tidied themselves up, they all sat together with shame on their faces. Things had already happened, what should they do now? I took that wine out of my dad's wine cellar. I don't know what effect it has. I just thought the color looked good and it should taste good, so I took it out. As a result, this is what happened. Zhou Nianyo spoke first. The three of them were not stupid, so they quickly figured out that the problem was with the 2 bottles of fruit wine, so Zhou Nianyo explained first. If I knew it had this effect, I would never drink this wine even if I was beaten to death. Besides, I wouldn't drink so much, which would hurt others and myself. Zhou Nianyo blushed as she spoke. The result of drinking too much fruit wine was that she and Jianqin had no chance to sleep from yesterday afternoon until late at night. They felt like they were falling apart, as if they had been dismantled and reassembled. After hearing Zhou Nianyo's explanation, Xia Tian believed it. It seemed like it was indeed a coincidence. Knowing this coincidence made Xia Tian even more depressed. In the past, he had always wanted this kind of good fortune but couldn't get it. But now that he didn't want this kind of good fortune, why did he always encounter this kind of thing? My current love life is already a mess, and now with 2 more, how can I live? This may seem like an unattainable romantic encounter to ordinary people, but for Xia Tian right now, it is nothing short of a bad fate. I don't want this kind of good fortune. Although Jianqin blushed, her eyes were filled with joy and happiness. She was so happy. She was quite satisfied with yesterday's accident. The only thing that made her feel guilty and embarrassed was that she had involved her best friend Zhou Nianyo in this, which made her feel uneasy. After all, Zhou Nianyo was already engaged. Although Zhou Nianyo was not satisfied with her boyfriend, it was arranged by her family after all, and she could not regret it easily. But now that things have turned out like this, how will it end in the future? And the reason why this mistake happened yesterday was all because of her. It was Zhou Nianyo who specially arranged this dinner for her, and even chose her home, but she didn't expect that she would be dragged into it. Thinking of this, Jianqin looked at Zhou Nianyo with some guilt. Zhou Nianyo himself did not show any special behavior, nor did he look hysterical or collapsed. He was always relatively calm. It has already happened. What are you going to do now? Are you going to just treat it as an adult game of drunkenness, or will you be responsible for us? It doesn't matter. You can tell us what you really think. After all, we are all adults and can be responsible for our own actions. It's actually no big deal for something like this to happen. Zhou Nianyo was very calm. But the 2 glaring dark red flowers on the bed showed that she was not an open-minded girl, so her words were obviously just a topic to test Xia Tian's attitude and should not be taken seriously. Xia Tian smiled bitterly. Yes, there was no point in worrying about it now. Things had already happened. But now his difficulty lies here. He is already a married man and a man with 10 wives. Now if he wants to be responsible for the girls again, it is not a simple matter for him to decide alone. He must get his wife's consent. But he has already married 6 wives in the past 2 days. If he marries another wife without asking for permission, his backyard will probably explode. Chapter 96 I will be responsible. Faced with Zhou Nianyo's question, Xia Tian felt a little overwhelmed for a moment, and secretly complained when he thought of certain consequences, but he still said very decisively, "You have become my woman, of course I will be responsible, there is no doubt about that." Xia Tian's attitude made the tenderness on Jianqin's face as strong as honey. Zhou Nianyo also secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Although she said that she didn't care, only she knew how worried and scared she was in her heart just now. Now hearing Xia Tian's affirmative answer, she couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. At least she didn't meet a scumbag. Although she lost her virginity to him by accident, at least his willingness to take responsibility made her very satisfied. But Xiao Yu, what about you? Jianqin was so excited that she almost laughed out loud when she heard Xia Tian's affirmative answer. However, when she thought of her best friend Zhou Nianyo's family marriage contract, she became worried about the situation over there. Jian Qin's reminder made Xia Tian and Zhou Nianyo both stunned, and then they both reacted at the same time. It seemed that Zhou Nianyo was still Su Hao's girlfriend and fiancé, but now, Xia Tian had got there first. When Xia Tian thought of Su Hao, the big licker, he couldn't help but feel a little weird. When he saw Zhou Nianyo's beautiful face and perfect figure, and recalled the tenderness and sweetness they had shared last night, he gurgled. I can't think about it anymore. The more I think about it, the more I feel dizzy and strangely excited. On the other side, Zhou Nianyo couldn't help but blush when she heard Jian Qin's reminder. Her situation made her face turn red and her heartbeat quickened. I will handle this matter myself. I never had any feelings for Su Hao, and I'm not satisfied with this marriage. I agreed to it before only to avoid being forced into a marriage. Also, our two families have been cooperating for many years, and it's hard for me to refuse the matchmaking of our elders. Originally, I only planned to be a couple with Su Hao by agreement, and divorce after 5 years. Xiaoqin, you know about this. Zhou Nianyo hurriedly explained to Xia Tian and distanced himself from Su Hao. Yes, Xiao Yu had planned this before. She told me that day in Yang Juankai's villa. Jian Qin testified for Zhou Nianyo. It's okay. I don't mind it. After all, you have proved your purity to me last night. Xia Tian grinned. Xia Tian's words made Zhou Nianyo and Jian Qin blush at the same time and spit lightly. It turned out that men's focus is different. I will explain my engagement clearly to my family and settle it as soon as possible. How about you get the marriage certificate with Xiaoqin first? Zhou Nianyo definitely couldn't get the marriage certificate with Xia Tian before she had settled her engagement with Su Hao. After all, she didn't consider Su Hao as having no relationship with her, but she still had to give an explanation to the Zhou and Su families. She couldn't just get the marriage certificate with Xia Tian first and then go and talk to the Su family. That would be a bit too much and would be trampling on the Su family's face. They are all well-known figures. Although they want to cancel the engagement, they don't want to offend anyone to death. They should negotiate and talk things out in advance. Although the two families will have a gap in estrangement because of this, they will not become mortal enemies. If Zhou Nianyo really gets the marriage certificate with Xia Tian without saying a word and then goes to the Su family to talk about canceling the engagement, then the two families will really become enemies for life. No, I'd better wait for Xiao Yu and I to get the marriage certificate with Xia Tian. Anyway, we are good sisters and we should stick together. There is no need to rush. Besides, Xia Tian still has to discuss this matter with Teacher Shen and Teacher Su at home, so there is no rush. Jian Qin was still very sensible and did not ask Xia Tian to get the marriage certificate on the spot, which made Xia Tian feel relieved. It's good that you know the big picture. I'm just afraid that she will force me to get the marriage certificate with her right now, and then I'll be in a dilemma. Fortunately, at least I have given myself some time to buffer. When the time comes, I will be able to think of a way to deal with it. Xia Tian took out his cell phone, only to find that it had been turned off. Perhaps it had turned off automatically because he had received too many calls and messages. I haven't shown up for half a day and a whole night. I guess my phone must be broken by people looking for my information. I have to think about how to explain to Shenwan and Guya later. As for the other 6 wives, there is no need to worry. They currently have no intimate relationship with me except for that certificate, so there is no need to pay too much attention to them. I found a charger, charged my phone and turned it on. The imagined information bombardment did not appear, and everything was quiet. Is the phone broken? Or is the SIM card useless? The fact that there was no green bubble message or missed call made Xia Tian feel uneasy. What happened? He immediately picked up his phone and sent Jian Qin a green bubble message, which showed that the message had been sent successfully. He asked Jian Qin to send him a green bubble message, and he received the message immediately. The cell phone is not broken, so why didn't Tisu Ro and Lu Xian call or send me a message to track my whereabouts? This is irrational. Has he changed his temper? Or is he really angry and ignoring me because of the strawberry kiss mark on my neck? But only Shenwan and Su Ro knew about the strawberry mark, Guya and Lu Xian didn't know about it. Given the tense relationship between the 4 of them, they shouldn't have communicated with each other to verify it. Even if Shenwan and Su Ro were angry with me and ignored me, why didn't Guya and Lu Xian contact me? Why didn't they ask me to go home? It's neither scientific nor reasonable. I was muttering to myself, feeling annoyed when I was tracking myself, and feeling uncomfortable when I wasn't tracking myself. My heart was empty and full of random thoughts. People are just so mean sometimes. Xia Tian hesitated whether he should take the initiative to call Xinwan and the others to test whether their emotions were stable. On the other side, Xinwan, Su Rou, Guya, and Lu Xian were not actually too angry. They also wanted to contact Xia Tian and know his whereabouts and so on. But they also reflected on their own problems. Perhaps it was because of their identity as teachers that they always couldn't help wanting to control Xia Tian, especially since Xia Tian was still a student, which gave them an excuse. In addition, they didn't get along with each other, and they were holding their breath to compete with each other. No one wanted to be inferior to the other. In this game, they had a lot of fun fighting, but they completely forgot about Xia Tian's feelings. Being pressed so hard by both sides, no one could stand it. And it can be seen from the fact that Xia Tian married 4 wives in succession that he was a little afraid of them and even had the idea of escaping. Otherwise, even if he was helping others to shield them, if he didn't have time to call, he could always send a message, right? It wouldn't be a big deal, right? But Xia Tian didn't take the initiative to explain to them until they called to question him. Xinwan and the others are very smart women. They have deduced from various details that Xia Tian was feeling timid and retreating towards them. This made Xinwan and Guya react at the same time. They fought with each other and chose to press Xia Tian step by step, which made Xia Tian feel discouraged and even a little fearful. So yesterday, both Xinwan and Guya chose to force themselves not to track Xia Tian's whereabouts. After all, Xia Tian now has 10 wives, so it is impossible for him to stay by their side every day and revolve around them. It is normal that they cannot contact him most of the time. They have to learn to treat Xia Tian with a normal heart, otherwise not only will they be tired, but Xia Tian will be more tired, and even develop disgust. Xia Tian hesitated for a long time but still did not call. Although he didn't know why Xinwan and the others didn't track his whereabouts, he felt that it was rare for him to feel so relaxed and at ease, and he didn't want to report his whereabouts. Let me tell you a little about myself. You should already know that I'm married, but what you may not know is that I have a lot of wives. Putting aside the matters of Xinwan and the other 3, Xia Tian decided to solve the problem with Jian Xin and Zhou Nianyu first. Well, we already know this and we don't mind. But you, my junior, must not be partial in the future and must treat everyone equally. Jian Xin said in a naive manner. She was still immersed in the state of a dream coming true and didn't care much about other things in the summer. I don't know much about your situation, junior brother. Please tell me about it. Zhou Nianyu wanted to know more about Xia Tian's own situation. He had only heard a few words from Jian Xin before, but they were not detailed. Well, I'm married. If you don't count you, I have 10 wives who are married, and 1 girlfriend who is not married. I have some assets and I'm not short of money. Xia Tian briefly explained his situation, emphasizing that he has many wives, so he may not have so much time to accompany them in the future. However, he also promised that he would try his best to treat them equally and not let either of them suffer any grievances. 10 wives and a girlfriend? Zhou Nianyu was stunned, and Jian Xin was also confused. Even if they were beaten to death, they had never thought that Xia Tian would have so many wives. If they add the 2 of them, Xia Tian would have 13 wives. Not to mention other things, the happiness fund that needs to be paid to marry 13 wives is an astronomical figure. Most rich people can't afford it. This shows that Xia Tian's financial resources should be very strong, but we don't know to what extent. Junior, do your family agree with you marrying so many wives? You will face many problems in the future if you bring so many wives home, not to mention the huge amount of money. Zhou Nianyu said whatever he wanted to say. Besides, since he had already set his heart on the other party and had done the most intimate things, there was nothing to hide, so he asked the questions in his heart directly. My family doesn't know that I have so many wives, but they have long told me that I make my own decisions and they won't interfere in my private affairs. As for finances, I don't rely on my family. For now, I can earn several hundred million yuan a month, which is relatively stable, so you don't need to worry about financial problems. Xia Tian thought about it and decided to reveal a little about his strength to the 2 of them. He had a conflict with Xinwan and Su Rou because he concealed his strength before, so now he is reserved in confessing some of his strength to his wives. After hearing what Xia Tian said, Zhou Nianyu and Jian Xin were both stunned. Without relying on family, he could have a relatively stable income of several hundred million every month? Was this true? Isn't he the top 2nd generation of a top family? In their impressions, they have always thought that Xia Tian was the heir of some top family. Now this situation seems a little wrong. However, to have a stable income of several hundred million every month, this does not require the strength of a top family, and it seems that it is impossible to achieve this, right? But from what Xia Tian said, his financial situation had nothing to do with his family. No matter how hard they tried, they could not figure out that Xia Tian was controlled by a system. He only needed to marry more wives to get a stable living allowance from the system. Now 10 wives would make 100 million per week, or 400 million per month, plus all kinds of other system rewards. Anyway, Xia Tian doesn't have to worry about money at all now. What kind of business are you doing? Zhou Nianyo couldn't help but wanted to ask Xia Tian, but Xia Tian interrupted her and asked her these questions first. Don't worry about these things. Just tell me if you need money. I will give you 100,000 pocket money every week in the future. If you have large expenses, just ask me for extra money. I'll take care of earning money to support the family. You don't have to worry about the financial situation, you just need to be beautiful, and I'll be responsible for earning money to support the family. Xia Tian reached out and patted Zhou Nianyo's plump buttocks, which felt quite good. Ouch, you bad guy, it hurts. After rolling her eyes at Xia Tian, Zhou Nianyo stopped asking these questions. Since Xia Tian didn't want her to ask, she had to suppress her curiosity. There is a technique and reason behind Xia Tian giving each of his wives 100,000 yuan a week. This amount is just enough to complete the requirement of spending 100,000 yuan a day for the mission, so Xia Tian transfers the money to his wives in turn. Today it is Su Rou and Wang Nan's turn to give pocket money. Now he has exactly 13 women, and although there are still 3 women who have not had time to get married, Xia Tian treats them all equally and does not discriminate against them because they have not obtained a marriage certificate. After the 3 of them finished breakfast, Jian Qin and Zhou Nianyu rested at home, while Xia Tian left and rushed to school. The 2 girls were still limping today because of the madness of yesterday afternoon and evening. They were obviously unable to go to school. The first reason was that it was inconvenient for them to walk, and the other reason was really hard to explain. Today's college students are a bunch of know-it-alls, and everyone can guess what's going on with their situation at a glance, so the 2 girls don't want to go to school and feel stared at strangely. Chapter 97: The Yi family makes trouble. Yi Lan got married. The Yi family got the news immediately, and everyone in the Yi family was furious. This ungrateful thing. The Yi family raised her up. Would she be where she is today without the Yi family? But is this how she repays the Yi family today? Yi Shangrong, the head of the Yi family, threw the cup in anger. That slut has been a bitch since she was young. A bitch raised a bitch, an ungrateful dog. A noble lady in gorgeous clothes looked at a middle-aged woman with lowered eyebrows and drooping face with disdain and a haughty look on her face. Lauder has said before that she wants to make her own decisions about her life. As a condition, she has not enjoyed any of the Yi family's resources or affluent life over the years, the middle-aged woman argued for Yi Lan. The gorgeous lady is the mistress of the Yi family, Yi Shangrong's legal wife, named Lu Shueme. The middle-aged woman with a droopy face is Yi Lan's biological mother, Wang Jelly. Humph, without the Yi family, would she have grown so big? Now that she's strong enough, she wants to sever her ties with the Yi family? Lu Shueme snorted angrily and retorted. The Ma family and Ma Nianchen don't know about this yet. If the Ma family knew about this, who knows what would happen? Then the Ma family will vent their anger on the Yi family. Who will bear the brunt of this? Will it be her, Yi Lan? When it comes to this, Yi Shangrong has a headache. Yi Lan, the unfilial daughter, has created such a mess. She is so cool. But how can he respond to the Ma family? When the Ma family knows about this situation, they will definitely not let it go. What should he do if the Ma family comes to the Yi family to ask for an explanation? What can he do? The strength of the Ma family is not weaker than that of their Yi family. An equally matched ally and an equally matched enemy can be a matter of a thought. The Yi family will have a headache then. Call that unfilial daughter back to me, and ask her to bring the man she married back to me, immediately. Yi Shangrong shouted angrily at Wang Jelly. Now things have not reached the worst step. As long as the unfilial daughter does not truly marry the other party, there is still room for improvement. At that time, as long as the unfilial daughter cooperates, it can be said that the 2 were forced to get married. At that time, it is also possible for the 2 to divorce and the daughter to marry Ma Nianchen from the Ma family. This kind of thing is not uncommon in this society. There is nothing that can be done about women being forced to match up and get married. No one can predict it. Wang Jelly was somewhat reluctant to obey Yi Shangrong's order, but she did not dare to disobey him, so she had to take out her cell phone and call her daughter Yi Lan. The call was quickly connected, and Yi Lan's cold voice came from the phone. Hello, what's the matter? Yilan seldom called his mother mom. He never agreed with the fact that Wang Jie voluntarily followed Yi Shangrong as an underground lover without any official status. Yilan also hated his mother for not fighting for her. However, although she has opinions, she still cares about Wang Jie very much. "Lanner, are you still busy?" Wang Jie was a little intimidated by her daughter who had always been independent, and she put on a flattering smile even through the phone. "Tell me what's the matter." Yilan did not appreciate her concern and kept his tone cold. "That's your father." Before Wang Jie could finish her words, Yilan interrupted her coldly. "Have you forgotten the rule of not mentioning that person in front of me? If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up now." Well. Beep, beep, beep. Wang Jie originally wanted to say something, but Yilan on the other end of the phone had already hung up, leaving Wang Jie no chance to continue. Unfilial daughter, unfilial daughter. Yi Shangrong heard the entire conversation on the phone. He was so angry that his face turned blue and his hands were shaking. "Oh, you are indeed a bitch who has no sense of propriety, righteousness, integrity, and shame." Lu Xueme sneered. "You, don't say that about Lanner, she just..." Facing Lu Xueme's abuse, Wang Jie did not dare to say too much and argued for her daughter. "She just what?" "She just forgot the kindness of the Yi family in raising her. She is just an ungrateful bitch who doesn't care about the life and death of her family." Lu Xueme raised her eyebrows, put her hands on her hips, and attacked Wang Jie fiercely. "She is a doctor, and you, a mere concubine, dare to argue with her? Call her again, call that unfilial daughter again, this time I will talk to her in person." Veins bulged on Yi Shangrong's forehead. He interrupted the quarrel between the two women and said to Wang Jie through gritted teeth, "I think you'd better forget it. You'd better talk to that little bitch in person. I'm afraid that little bitch won't appreciate your good intentions, and it will end up in a bad mood." Lu Xueme spoke the truth. With the arrogance and character of that bitch Yilan, he would definitely not show any mercy to Yi Shangrong, his father, and it would end up in a bad mood again. Call her." Yi Shangrong was used to being bossy and could not accept other people's disobedience to him, especially when the one who disobeyed him was his illegitimate daughter. In his feudal thinking, heaven, earth, emperor, parents and teachers were the most important people. As a father, he should give her her life, not to mention arranging a marriage for her. How could she dare not listen to him? Wang Jie hesitated to speak. Although Lu Xueme's words were harsh, she was right. With Yi Lan's personality, she didn't recognize Yi Shangrong as her father. How could she listen to him? For so many years, you have always ignored your daughter. You have never cared about Yi Lan since she grew up. Now that you have a vested interest and need to use your daughter for marriage, you ask your daughter. Is there any father like you? How can you ask your daughter like this? How can you convince your daughter that you are a father? Although she was slandering in her heart, Wang Jie still called her daughter Yi Lan again. Beep beep beep. This time the phone kept ringing until it automatically hung up, but no one answered. Wang Jie raised her phone innocently, indicating that there was nothing she could do if her daughter didn't answer. Yi Shangrong's face became even uglier, and he said in a deep voice, "Keep calling until that unfilial girl answers the phone." Wang Jie hesitated to speak, and finally decided to continue calling her daughter Yi Lan. This time the call was still not answered, and the phone was automatically hung up. "Keep fighting." Yi Shangrong gritted his teeth. The phone rang for a long time before it was finally connected. Yilan didn't want to answer it at first, but he knew that his mother was not living a very happy life in the Yi family. He didn't listen to Yi Shangrong, which made his mother very embarrassed. Yi Shangrong and his wife Lu Xueme often made things difficult for his mother Wang Jie, so Yilan chose to answer the phone. "Is there anything else?" Yilan was helpless. She could be rude to anyone in the Yi family, but when it came to facing her mother, she could never harden her heart to face her. Hearing that the call was finally connected again, without waiting for Wang Jie to speak, Yi Shangrong took the call and said to Yilan on the other end of the phone in a deep voice, "Yilan, I want to ask you if you have obtained a marriage certificate with someone else?" Hearing the sudden male voice on the phone, Yilan's face unexpectedly turned slightly cold. She knew that her mother's repeated calls to her must be the man's instructions, and it was true. "What's it got to do with you?" Yilan ignored this so-called father. You, don't you know that Ma Nianchen from the Ma family has been pursuing you and wants to marry you? How can you get a marriage certificate with another man? If you let Ma Nianchen from the Ma family know about this, how are you going to explain to the Ma family then? Yi Shangrong forced himself to suppress his temper. He knew that Yi Lan's daughter did not recognize him as her father at all and had no sense of belonging to the Yi family, so his words were not too harsh. He suppressed his temper and was prepared to explain the importance of this matter to this rebellious girl with both emotion and reason. So what? What does Ma Nianchen from the Ma family have to do with me? Should I marry him just because he pursues me? Yi Lan listened to Yi Shangrong on the other end of the phone talking to her in a restrained manner. She did not hang up the phone in a hurry and asked back casually. You, the Ma family and our family are old friends and business partners for many years. The fact that they don't care about your status as an illegitimate daughter and are willing to marry you is considered. The rebellious girl did not hang up the phone immediately. Seeing hope, Yi Shangrong immediately wanted to explain the interests involved again, hoping that the rebellious girl would change her mind and obey his arrangements. Enough. According to what you said, do I have to thank the other party for his kindness? You actually have the nerve to say the 3 words illegitimate daughter to me. I admire your shamelessness. Do you think this identity is honorable? Or do you think I like it? I wish I had never had anything to do with you. Yi Lan was instinctively full of disgust and resistance to these 3 words. This was the biggest pain point in her life. Now Yi Shangrong said this to Yi Lan in person again. It would be strange if she could have a good temper. But this is a fact, an unchangeable fact. Even if you don't accept it, there is no way to change it. Your identity was destined from the day you were born. You are my, Yi Shangrong's, daughter. You will never be able to get rid of your relationship with the Yi family in this lifetime. Yi Shangrong also got angry. You don't accept it? Don't admit it? Then I will make you face the reality. Ha, the fact is that you gave birth to me for your pleasure, and then you ignored me and didn't care about me. Now that I'm an adult, you still want me to gain benefits for you, become a sacrifice in your marriage, and gain more benefits for you? You are really calculating. Yi Lan mocked Yi Shangrong mercilessly. So what even if it is? That can't change the fact that you are a member of my Yi family, and my daughter, Yi Shangrong. You have to be loyal and responsible to the family. Yi Shangrong has already torn his face off. It won't work if he wants to give some high-sounding reasons to his daughter. So he might as well just be shameless and seek truth from facts. That's your business and has nothing to do with me. I have never received any preferential treatment from you and the Yi family since I was a child, nor have I enjoyed a penny of your Yi family's resources. Why should I be loyal and responsible to your Yi family? On the contrary, I wish your Yi family would be unlucky and collapse, and I might even want to destroy your so-called family full of filth with my own hands. Yi Lan's words made Yi Shangrong feel cold in his heart. He knew that Yi Lan had complaints about him and the Yi family, but he didn't expect that the resentment would be so great. The conversation between the father and daughter ended unhappily. Yi Shangrong didn't even have time to tell them what he had planned. First, Yi Lan didn't give him a chance to tell them. Second, even if he told them, Yi Lan wouldn't be able to follow his idea. It would just be nonsense. Faced with the stubborn Yi Lan, Yi Shangrong was so angry that he almost had a heart attack and a cerebral infarction at the same time and died. In the end, Yi Shangrong still asked Wang Jeli to convey his intention to Yi Lan, that is, let Yi Lan bring the man who got the marriage certificate back home, and the Yi family is willing to compensate the other party with a sum of money in exchange for the other party divorcing Yi Lan, and Yi Lan can choose to continue to marry Ma Nianchen of the Ma family. In this way, the relationship between the Yi family and the Ma family will not be destroyed, and they can continue to cooperate closely. When Yi Lan heard what her mother conveyed, she just sneered twice. She didn't even bother to pay attention to Yi Shangrong, this arrogant guy. This guy was the one who was self-righteous. Why should she listen to him? Just because he was only her biological father in name only? If she had a choice, she would never want to have anything to do with this guy. Want her to listen to him and divorce Xia Tian and marry Ma Nianchen from the Ma family? He can only dream about it. Not to mention that she is married to Xia Tian now. Even when she was single, even if she died immediately, she would never do things according to Yi Shangrong's wishes and let Yi Shangrong, the hypocritical and arrogant guy, be proud. Thinking of this, Yi Lan suddenly compared Xia Tian and Yi Shangrong. Although Xia Tian also had multiple women, he was willing to get married with every one of them. Just this point alone made him many times better than Yi Shangrong. Thinking about it this way, the issue of Xia Tian marrying multiple wives suddenly seemed insignificant in Yi Lan's mind. In comparison, Xia Tian seemed to be more affectionate and loyal, and not a scumbag or a bad person. Aren't you, Yi Shangrom, still harboring fantasies, thinking about how to destroy your marriage with Xia Tian, and fantasizing about divorcing Xia Tian and then marrying that guy Man Yanchen? Then I will completely stop your thoughts. And it is very simple to stop Yi Shangrom's thoughts. All I need to do is to make Xia Tian and I turn the fake play into reality and become a real couple, that's it. The big family values these things the most. As long as she becomes Xia Tian's real wife, Man Yanchen and Yi Shangrom should give up.